Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, he's an absolute dream. He's my co-host, Mr. Taylor.
I am. Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a good one this week.
It is, definitely.
Hey, calm down there.
Dream.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good episode. We're going to be joined this week by a guest talking about dream interpretations, dream analysis.
Yes.
So it's actually really interesting, and something I've been wanting to get on the show for a while.
For quite a while, yeah.
Just wanting to find somebody who knew what they were talking about, and I think we definitely did.
We definitely found that.
We're going to be joined on the show a little bit later by the dream detective, Mimi Pettibone.
Yes.
Make sure you stick around because it's an absolute pearl.
Brilliant interview.
Not only is she going to be deep diving into our psyches,
which was a surprise.
I
don't know
if you read her.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We've got a couple of listener dreams that were sent in as well. So,
we have. Yes. Got some answers for them.
Got a lot to go through. It's going to be an interesting show. But that's all happening a bit later. We've got a few bits to go through before that. Like, what have you been up to this week, Mr. Taylor?
Me, not really much, to be honest. I've just been working
every
out.
Single week. I work out.
Yeah, I've been starting to do a bit of workout. You know,
look at that body.
Healthy body, healthy mind. And all that.
Yeah, that's true. That and plus, sitting on your ass for the whole
like
of this furlough period does not help.
No,
it's like seriously. I think my back's like kind of seizing up because it was like I was sat there playing the Xbox, and when I stood up, I was like in the Naruto run pose permanently.
Right.
I was like, man, trying to get across the living room. So I need to stretch. I've been doing a bit of trying to like get out and walk around a bit more, get on some walks and try and get that fresh air. And it's spring, summer coming in now, so
I've mainly done it for mental stability, to be honest.
Yeah, good, man. It really does help if you exercising definitely does help your well-being and your kind of mental outlook on stuff as well. Totally
like the other day I was looking at something and it really made me angry. It really wound me up, and I decided I was there for like 20 minutes going. That's
a really good point. Actually, it's good for getting like your aggressions out, mental stresses and stuff. If you're working out. Yeah, so something pissed you off, and then you went, I'm going to go and bust my weights.
Yeah, I've got my weights down there in the bench, and it's like, right, you know what, let's use this time, instead of winding myself even more up, use the time to calm myself down and get down and listen to a bit of music, and like, you know, do a bit of exercise, get the blood cooled down a bit more.
We're all about the positivity on this show. That's meant. Well, we like I say, we're talking dreams this week, which is hopefully positive stuff, not nightmares.
Yes, no. Even though this lady does deal with it.
One thing that happened this week was we got nominated for an award.
Yes, we have. Yes,
indeed. It is
mental.
It is quite the thing.
Yes,
in fact, it's quite the thing. Media. Who's running the podcast awards, and we've been nominated in the something a bit different or the special.
Yeah, we're a little bit
special interests category.
Yeah.
It's dead easy to vote as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So
how do you do that?
Well, there's a number of ways. You could go on our Twitter or Facebook page. There's a link on the page on Facebook and also a link on Twitter. I'll try and put one in our kind of link tree as well. But it's dead easy. Once you go to the website, it's literally like, look down the list for our name, tick the box, and that's it.
Bang,
submit. Done.
Yeah.
Don't have to fill in any personal details.
No.
Nothing like that. No one's going to ask who you are. You can do it as an anonymous.
Yes.
And an anonymous.
You can
even wear the mask.
Oh,
and do it proper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you have to wear it all the time now, don't you, at the moment?
No, I mean the anonymous mask. Do you know, like Guy Fawkes?
Oh, yes.
Thinking outside the box.
Yes, you are. I love my one.
It'd be mint, and it'd be really nice if
we'd appreciate it so
if you
much.
did it. And thank you very much. And I won't ask you anything else.
We love the support.
I'm only joking. Do you know what we all need to give a big shout out to this week? Because it was someone that I used to follow on Facebook.
Oh,
not
right,
Facebook, YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a few years ago, right?
Oh.
And I was into kind of all this urban exploration and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And came across this YouTuber called Deep Digger Dan.
Oh, right. Deep Digger Dan, yeah. I know, you're talking about
right.
It,
yeah. And I can't remember if he was in somewhere like Germany, if my memory serves correct, one of the first videos that came across him. And finding interesting stuff in the woods or whatever. I'm pretty sure. If he's going to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Obviously, I watched a lot of these videos, and crops up, he's got a new channel. And he's out there doing the camping and the motorhomes and, travelling the UK and travelling around, that's living the life, man. And it's really good. And I do recommend checking him out.
Yeah.
What they called? They're called Travel Trolls.
Travel Trolls.
And I think,
so if you
go
get the
and subscribe because they're
subscribe.
absolutely brilliant. They're just a couple of really good, nice people.
Down-to-earth people who are on the road and showing the community and people.
Do you know what it's like when they do reviews of kind of people,
areas and
campsites and stuff.
Yeah.
And, they're just genuinely honest about it, you know. And, they run a YouTube channel as well, so it's like Wi-Fi and stuff. It's a must. Yeah. And I think these types of things are great for these businesses as well because they're obviously reviewing them where more people will see that campsite, whereas they didn't know it was there before.
Yeah, and they'll go,
totally. Do you know what? I might go to that one.
Yeah.
And then in the flip side, it's going to kind of,
give you the best destinations.
It's going to give the kind of the not so well reviewed campsites a boost,
more of an opportunity.
As a kind of a way of seeing what they're missing. Do you know, do we need Wi-Fi? Do we need better facilities? It's
and
great.
Not only that, the equipment that they'll be using as well, including the if the camping outside, the tent or exactly. The actual camper van and stuff like that inside the vans.
They do reviews on all the kit they use.
Yeah.
So, really good stuff.
Yeah, so
I
if
do
you
recommend
get chance,
you check them out. Other than that, I've been playing a bit of Xbox, so I got into this game called Destroy All Humans, which is right up our street, honestly, because it's kind of UFO alien invasion, and it's so funny.
Thing. Yeah, I haven't seen this yet. And
you're going probing. Let's just say it like that. It's really good. And I do recommend you check it out. I'm not going to go on too much about it.
I'm going to check a review on it. Yeah, I haven't seen anything on it yet.
It's been one of those games because it's set in like that 1950s like Tales of the Amazing sort of era.
Mars Attack kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like these alien greys have shown up on Earth and they're like, right, we've got a mission to do. We're taking over humanity.
Yeah.
Let's do it, and then like bit by bit. But then like they're uncovering like the secret government plots to control humanity themselves through Majestic.
Oh, right. Yeah,
so
I like
brilliant.
it.
It was like, honestly, because we talk about all this stuff. So they've gone through all these kind of conspiracies and kind of woven them in a little bit.
Yeah, it reminds me of like
I'm hoping it gets a bit more like that towards the end of the game as well, but I'll let you know.
Yeah, do, man.
So let's get on with the show anyway. So last week's Chain Connections, no one's got it right yet. I thought it was a hard one. Yet. So we're going to roll over, and Taylor's going to give you a recap.
I am.
Of last week's answers. You see, I didn't get it, and when because I'm in the dark. Yeah, right. I only actually know midweek when I have to ask him if the person who's messaged me's got it right. Yeah. So I do know it now because I asked you, but no, I wouldn't have got it. But like, give him the answers again. If you can get it right,
then you've got it.
I'll give you. Do you know what? If you get it right, you get a T-shirt this week. Seriously, because
okay.
I can't. Do you know what? I've got. Yeah, come on.
Okay. You put that on the table. All right then. Well, the first one is this become famous, more famous in the Vietnam War.
Right. Okay.
Number two is it's great for putting things together.
Right.
And the third answer is it's a little bit sticky.
It's a little bit sticky. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
think of it. What happened?
If you think you know what it is, give us a shout. You
Yeah.
could be in with a chance of being our smart ass of the week.
Yourself. You will be kicking
I know
yourself.
what it is now.
Yeah. Would you? And you said you wouldn't got it from that.
I wouldn't have got it off the first clue.
No.
I don't.
Well,
I don't know. Well, it depends on the
person,
history and the person, really. So, I mean, somebody might get it.
Yeah.
So,
but I reckon a few people will kick themselves afterwards when the answer comes out.
Woohoo! Yeah. Well,
to me, it's so easy.
Right. Okay. Well, like I say, we're talking about t-shirts. If you want to get over to not Patreon, sorry, go over to our website. You can pick up a bit of merch.
Yes, we've got plenty of it out there, and we've got the new limited edition t-shirt.
Excellent stuff. Was there anything else I wanted to cover before we moved on?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Anyway, if we we'll do it later on. Right. If you remember.
Well, without further ado.
Yeah.
Well, this week we're joined by an expert in all things dream-related, from dream interpretation to psychic and paranormal sleep and dream phenomena. She's been a dream consultant for television, film and theatre, and she's also the creator and host of the Dream Detective podcast. Welcome to the show, Mimi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Hello. So,
hi.
How are you?
I am good, thank you. How are you guys?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Not too bad,
how's sunny Seattle treating you?
It actually is a little bit sunny today, but it's pretty good.
Well, obviously, we're in Manchester, which is very similar, and we had a couple of days of nice weather, but then it's just started raining again, so the last 2 days. But we're not here to talk about the weather.
No, we're not.
We're here to talk about something that I've had a fascination with for a very long time, dreams and dream analysis.
Yeah.
Like I say, you've got a podcast, which is The Dream Detective. So
yes.
Can you tell us a bit about that? How did you become a dream detective?
Well, I was always fascinated with dreams. Ever since I was little, I always had this innate sense that they must mean something, but nobody ever talked about it. I had no idea if they meant something or how to figure it out. And, I became the friend, especially in college, but probably my whole life, where I'd be the one to say, you guys, I had this dream last night. I have to tell you about it.
Really?
And so in college, one of my roommates worked at the counseling center, and they had a not for credit group. Like, it wasn't a class, but just a kind of extracurricular activity that was a dream group. And of course, since I was always talking about my dream, she said, Mimi, you should check out this dream group. And I said, what? There's a group for that? And so I went. And it was amazing. It was my first entrance into, I guess, what you'd call self-understanding.
Yeah.
Because, the way I was brought up, that any kind of self-help or self-involvement was
that.
Poppycock.
Well, not only that, it kind of, it's almost sort of like saying, I've got a problem and I need help or therapy or I do realise that obviously people have, it's a great thing to do and a great thing to get involved in. But it was a taboo about these sort of things, wasn't they, for a while? It was like a bit
Yeah,
pokey.
I think nowadays it's a lot more accepted and widespread, thank goodness, because I really do believe in it. But what happened was in the dream group, so there's a technique that's been around since the 1960s that was founded by a guy named Montague Ullman. And it's used in dream groups where one person shares a dream and then everybody else in the groups takes turns saying, well, if this were my dream, here's what it would mean to me. Okay. So that's called projection. We're all just projecting our own meaning. Nobody's saying, here's what your dream means because I know, or I think you should go to therapy with your mother. There's no you statements. It's all I statements. So it's, I would feel like that neglected puppy was part of my life that needs feeding and care. And I would look at what part of my life I need to tend to some more.
Okay.
So by everybody projecting, the dreamer takes what fits with them, and in your body, you get this click like,
yes,
oh,
I was just about
fits.
to say that because, I personally, if I was sat in a group and I had 5 people giving me their personal takes on it, one of them would resonate with me and I'd go, yeah, that person. Yeah. And I wouldn't say that their explanation was any worse than the other person, but personally, on a personal level, you would say that fits. Yeah, and you know what's kind of going on in your personal life and everything like that. So I can buy that. Yeah, that's okay. Actually quite a nice way of actually looking at it, really. Yeah. Having a bit of a broader
view of it.
Broader view,
yeah. Yeah, and so by everybody saying I statements, it also doesn't put the dreamer on the defensive. Because if you're saying you need to do this or you should try that or I think you need, to work out your relationship with so-and-so, that gets a person really defensive.
Yeah.
But just saying,
It's
I would feel
personal
like
things.
it means this to me, it's very much more objective, and the dreamer can also get a different perspective, almost like an outside perspective on their dream. And then whenever someone says something that doesn't resonate with the dreamer, they can just leave it. They don't have to go there. But another interesting thing that happens is all of the other group members who didn't share this particular dream will get something out of it as well from hearing the other projections, because something someone says is going to resonate with them for something going on in their life.
Totally.
So it does kind of work out as a bit of a just a support group. If you like.
I was just going to say that myself. It's some kind of ways to get someone else to answer your question, but in their life that might hit you.
I get that. Yeah, I see where you're coming from there. Yeah. So I mean, so you've kind of attended these groups and you've kind of started.
That was my first introduction. Yes, and so that is the basic dream group technique. Now there are all kinds of other ways of working with dreams, especially one-on-one, that I studied for years, and I've studied all kinds of other modalities for coaching and personal growth and spirituality, and I'm trained in a social psychology called transactional analysis. So I actually do more than dream work. I do coaching with clients as well for everything from figuring out their life path and their purpose to relationships and communication, to even on a spiritual level. I believe in, whether you want to call it your own higher power or the divine or God or Buddha or Mary or whoever or whatever, the quantum field.
Now,
I believe in some kind of higher power and working with that.
I believe that there's definitely a higher power in terms of. I wouldn't like to name it though in that respect, and say this is the work of X, Y, or Z. I like the idea that dreams are a doorway to answering these questions potentially. And you were saying about kind of direction in life and helping people. Be a bit more kind of directional, if you like.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, because I'm actually working on an episode right now, and depending on when this episode releases, that one might already be out, but it's on life path dreams.
Okay.
And one of the things that our dreams will do is help to guide us towards what is our true purpose. What do we feel called for? Because I think we all feel some kind of calling, like we all come into this world with some kind of innate talents and abilities. And then we're conditioned, whether it's our family's beliefs, our culture, whatever,
totally.
We sort of learn, well, if I want to make my parents happy, I better be this way, even though I really want to be this other way.
Yeah, so they guide you the narrative, so that you're basically following their path and not realising your own.
Yeah, you're not realising your own potential and the things that you could be doing if you, let your heart kind of lead you, and your own mind lead you, rather than just
what you're being told to
conforming to the status quo, if you like.
Right. Yeah, and so our dreams are going to show us, if we feel miserable in a job that is not suited to our true nature, our dreams are going to show us. They're going to give us dreams. I mean, the dreams can come in many different forms, but we might feel stuck or trapped or confined, or you'll find out more when you listen to this episode. But and I give a few dreams as examples, but again, the sky's the limit with the creativity of the dreaming mind, of course. But our dreams will show us where we feel stuck, but also they'll give us clues as to what we really do feel called towards.
Okay. So why do you think we dream? Why do you think we dream at all? I mean, do you think there's a number of reasons, or do you think it's... because I've always thought it was, you're... working through problems that you can't really resolve, on your own, or kind of your subconscious, or, because there's different levels of dreams, isn't there? Because there's obviously, you can have nightmares and really kind of prolific dreams where it's just a fun thing where you're like, oh, I was in a jacuzzi with, I don't know, whoever you've got the hots for, or, you're a millionaire. And you can have these really exciting, great, fantastic dreams, but then obviously you can have these really mundane, life, just where you could not tell whether it was real life or a dream. Because I know when I do, I mean, I don't it's very rare that I do remember my dreams, but I think when I do, it's the confusion I have when I wake up, whether it's the real world or am I still dreaming? Because the dreams that I seem to have when I'm in that sort of half awake state,
vivid,
and they're vivid, but they're just like I've not put the bins out, do you know, like something like that. Yeah, like and I just can't get my head around why. Well, supposedly people have these really crazy, exciting dreams that I don't seem to have.
Well, supposedly you have 50-50. You have good dreams and you have bad dreams. Apparently, in science, they reckon that it's 50-50.
Okay.
I've not heard 50-50. I've heard about 2/3 of our dreams contain elements of anxiety and problem solving. I'm sure it depends on the source you explore, but without even trying to quantify it, I think any human would agree that, yes, some dreams are problem solving. Some dreams are just taking the trash out or whatever.
Yeah.
And other dreams can be very profoundly spiritual or psychic.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of people who get after death visitation dreams. So a loved one passes on and they have an experience that feels so real. And I believe those are real. I have some episodes on that.
So you think those are real visits, or visitations?
Oh, yes.
That's actually really fascinating because I was just about to ask when you said earlier about like the quantum sort of dreaming and like, I think that kind of opening a doorway to a different realm or a different sort of spiritual plane. Like when people say the astral walk or astral project, would that be considered a form of, meditation, dreaming, a dream state? Would that be?
I think that depends on who you ask, but I think a lot of people would say that that's different than dreaming.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, there's lucid dreaming, there's astral projection. Astral projection is when, let's call it our consciousness, leaves our body. I mean, here's something that's been scientifically studied is, the people that have out-of-body experiences when they're pronounced clinically dead on the operating table in a hospital. And then later they report the exact conversations the surgeons were having and what the people down the hall were drinking out and eating and what so-and-so was wearing. And there's one about like they traveled to the outside of the building or somewhere in the building on a high up ledge or shelf. There was a shoe and they described it exactly. And it was later, everything is confirmed. So this is a known thing that happens. So we know that consciousness exists outside of the physical body and even the brain being alive.
Yeah.
So if you go by that theory alone without even having to subscribe to any kind of spiritual philosophy, now if you're spiritual, you're probably already there on board with this stuff. But if you get into that mindset, astral travel, I believe, would be our consciousness leaving our body. And whether you're going to another place on the planet or another place in outer space.
It just seems when you say, people or like people who've passed on are able to sort of visit you or sort of say the goodbyes or pass on a message. That suggests to me that it's a two-way door or a two-way street, if you like. Right. Whereas, and that's the only reason why I ask about the astral projection. Antennas. Is if we're able to, allow other entities in to basically deliver a message or give you a goodbye, then would it be so far-fetched to say that you were able to kind of use that as a method of projecting outwards? I don't know. Oh.
Yes, absolutely. I believe so. I think that our consciousness can even visit living people when we're alive. And living people's consciousness can visit us. I mean, now we're getting into some trippy stuff, but
I like that. We're all about the trippy stuff. It's all good.
I believe in that. I believe I've experienced that. I've heard plenty of stories from other people. So I do believe that our consciousness, again, just like that out-of-body experience that has been studied, our consciousness can travel. And whether that's, us going somewhere or someone coming to visit us, whether they're passed on or alive. I think all of it's possible, actually.
Yeah.
But isn't dreaming come under the subconscious? That's why you can't, you can't read in your dreams. You can't see yourself in the mirror. You can't read a clock because they're conscious actions.
Is that true?
Yes, you're right. I mean, now some people can read in their dreams and see a clock, but that's because they may have a little more left brain or conscious mind activity happening in the dream state. But typically during the dream state, the conscious mind is offline for the most part. It is just nighty-night, not that logical, rational part of the brain. This is the part of the brain that says that's the past, this is the present, that's the future, that's Joe, this is Bob, that's Gaz, that's Taylor. But in the subconscious, nonlinear, creative, intuitive mind, this is that person I'm podcasting with, or this is my first love, or what a love relationship is. This comes up a lot actually in romantic dreams. People wonder why they dream so much about their ex, whether it's their first love or a recent love. I see a finger wagging.
Yeah,
Yes.
Isn't it right on that you only see, in your dreams, you will not see anyone who's around that you've never seen. It's all because of the visual. Like, I have a dream and see you.
Yeah, because it
don't necessarily have to be you, but it's your face to the actual...
Well, this is funny, you see, right? Because I remember when I was... Right, so we'll go into this in a minute, right? Because I've got a question about psychic dreams, right? So, foreseeing things, like... and this is something that happened to me personally when I was younger, and I was a lot younger. And I remember... having this dream where I was at this like a movie theater, right? But it wasn't really a movie theater. It was like another attraction within an attraction. So it was kind of like an informational video, yeah. And I was sat with a boy and a girl, and I had no clue who they were, right? Now, about 5 years later, we went on a holiday, family vacation, and we went on an excursion for the day. And it was pretty quiet. There was hardly anyone at this park, yeah. But they led us into this movie theatre, and it was like adjacent to the park, and there was only 2 other people sat in the theatre, a boy and a girl, right? And I sat down and I went, I've done this before. And it really confused me, and that's only ever happened to me once before, where it was a road where I knew I'd been on this road before. I was 100% positive, and as I walked down it, I was like, I've had this in a dream, or this is that a possibility that you can kind of predict things? Like,
oh my goodness, yes, I've had those dreams all my life, and that is one theory of where deja vu comes from. Even if a person doesn't remember having the dream, they get the sense, I've seen this place before. It could be that they dreamed about it.
I did quite a lot, actually.
Now, back to what I was saying about, remember, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, the linear and the nonlinear. And I said how the conscious mind thinks of time as past, present, future. And this is, Joe and that's Sue and that's Steve. But the subconscious mind sees time as happening all at once, which is hard to even mentally grasp because we're thinking with our conscious minds. Yeah. But that is exactly what quantum physics is finding now.
Of course it is, yeah. It's all happening together, past, present, and future. Yeah. So
if you think of time as a circle rather than a line, not past, present, future in a straight line, but all in a circle, all happening at once, it actually makes a lot more sense of how we would be able to pick up on that sitting in a theater with a boy and a girl 5 years before it actually happens.
Yeah.
Now, I think that psychic dreams can happen around anything from the mundane to like a pencil falling off a table to the highly significant. And what science has found, because there have been studies done on this as well, is that psychic abilities are actually a survival of the species mechanism. So a lot of times, not all the time, because you're sitting in a theater with a boy and a girl, it doesn't sound like it changed your life, or nobody
not at
lived,
all. But
nobody died, nobody had a baby in that scene, nobody, But in a lot of times, the situation you mentioned, a flashback of driving down a road, you'll hear stories where somebody drives down a road and they recognize it and they remember, I had this dream. And when I went around that corner, there was something in the road and I hit it and I woke up because I knew I was going to die because I hit this thing. So they remember the dream and they slow down before they turn the corner, and they're able to prevent that thing from happening.
Well, would you say
that's not always the case? No, because sometimes I think.
Could you not? I was just going to say that. I mean, you could say that you slow down and that kind of influenced what happened, but maybe that was the message. That it was always meant to be that you slow down.
That's like messing with time dilation, though.
Like a correction,
you know what I mean?
If you like, because that's the way. When you mentioned deja vu earlier, I mean, you could argue that it's a sort of.
Been there before, you messed up, you had to go back and start it again.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, and this is the thing, is that dreams can show us potentials for the future, but I believe that not everything is set in stone. There's another really famous story. I actually have some episodes in my podcast about psychic dreams as well. And one of the stories I share is pretty famous. It's about a woman who had a dream. She woke up in the middle of the night and she dreamed that the chandelier fell on her baby in his crib in the next room over.
Whoa.
So she tells her husband, and he's kind of like, oh, it's just a dream, go back to sleep. And she can't get back to sleep. So she gets up and she takes the baby into their room to bed with them. And later that night, sure enough, crash, the chandelier comes down onto the crib. And so in her dream, the baby was crushed, but because she took action to prevent it, she was able to change the outcome.
For one.
So yeah, it is. You could almost take it as a warning. And this is the thing, because I mean, like I mentioned earlier, with that situation with a random mundane situation where I just have this images of a theatre and a boy and a girl. Maybe it was that I didn't really take on the message that it was providing me with. Do you know, like it seems
possibly could be that, like I was saying.
I'm sorry if I'm making this more too personal.
Like
no,
subconsciously, like it doesn't matter if you know the person. If you've been walking down the road and you've seen this person, they can be in your dream because they were. You have actually had
it's
eyes
almost
on,
like
but you didn't realise it.
I mean, the idea that you could say, if it's an observable universe, and nothing exists in the universe until it's observed.
Yeah,
and it's like it's the same thing within your own little microcosm in your own head. I mean, obviously, when you fall asleep, I'm assuming that your brain will, and your subconscious mind will kind of concoct a scenario using elements available to it.
Well, apparently, isn't this true that your brain is more active when you're asleep than you are when you're awake?
Well, that's a good point. A lot of people think that when we're dreaming, we're in a very lowered state of consciousness in terms of our mind working, but actually it's when our mind is the most active during sleep when we're dreaming. So about every 90 minutes, we go through a sleep cycle where every 90 minutes or so, we have what they call an REM dream. That's the rapid eye movement, where we're having those story-like dreams that we're talking about.
Lucid dreams generally happen around the REM sleep.
True on that as well. If you wake up in the mid-state of both being conscious and subconscious, that when you wake up, you actually remember your dreams more. You can actually calculate and remember the lot.
If you wake up while you're having a dream, you're over 90% likely to remember it.
Yeah.
If you wake up between dreams, you're probably not going to remember it. Now, there is another thing I want to address, because you were talking about it earlier, is what I would call sleep thinking. So there's the REM dreams. I was flying and then I saw my brother and then this mouse came up and, those weird little stories.
Yeah.
But then there's the other ones where if somebody's starting a new job where they're learning how to cashier, they're learning how to operate a cash register, their neural pathways are going to rehearse and repeat those new actions they're learning to consolidate them and ingrain them in their memory. Yeah. And sometimes that is called sleep thinking, where we're just sort of going over these either things we're learning or maybe just some of the mundane things of life, making sure we took the trash out.
True that athletes, there are some athletes out there who actually, if you dream you're running, you're dreaming you're swimming, you're actually slightly moving your muscles within your body, and you actually gain a little bit by so you're actually exercising while you're sleeping.
Well, there's a lot of studying done on that with mental imagery. So when they're awake, if an athlete rehearses their sport, their skill, they will improve because they've rehearsed it so much in their mind. Now, I'm not sure about whether or not they actually gain muscle. And honestly, I'm not sure about that in the dream state either, because there is
focus, definitely.
Focus.
Yeah, their focus, their mind, their mental concentration and ability to know that they can do that has been rehearsed. So it's like an actor rehearsing their lines.
Confidence.
They're more likely to perform it well if they've rehearsed it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The confidence would be skyrocketed as well, because, it's one of them where if you kind of vision of you winning, and you say, like you say, you rehearse the moment and you rehearse in the actual event to the point where you feel like if this goes as planned, and as rehearsed, we're quids in. But
yeah, there's a thing mental training where if you do the same thing 11 days on the roll, the muscle memory you remember on it. It comes through. I would
like Mimi was just saying there about, like, if you were in a job and you were kind of rehearsing and learning these procedures, then I'd say I've had dreams where when I've been doing mundane stuff work wise, and it's been you've gone to bed dreaming about it, this is the thing. It's like. It's funny, actually, because, again, do you know what? I've said I don't really remember my dreams, but I'm coming up with quite a few examples tonight.
I hear this all the time. I don't remember my dreams, but let me tell you this one, and here's another one.
Yeah. Well, this is it. They're not that exciting. This is more to do with that sort of memory of learning something and it being sort of... it is there in your subconscious. I remember there was something that I was trying to do. It was something on the computer and a piece of software that I'd learned in college, and for the life of me, I couldn't remember how to do it. I had a dream that night that I was sat in the class, and the lecturer was telling me how to do it, and I woke up, like, middle of the night, ran to my computer and did it first time.
Yay!
I could not believe it. I was like, I've been racking my brains about this for about 3 days.
Well, you do know dreams have changed history. Dreams. Google was from a dream. So was the sewing machine, DNA. Yep. Also Tesla. He had dreams. So did what's his name?
Einstein.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Actually.
Well, yeah, it's sort like Mimi was saying, it's problem solving. He must have been. These people must have had some sort of kind of idea there, and they've gone to sleep, and it's organised it in a way that they've woke up thinking, eureka.
The table of the elements, that actually, because they was set in one way, and then they were having issues with it, and someone actually went away, thought of the idea, brought it to the table, and we've still got it to this day.
And that was through a dream.
Yeah.
So, and the book and movie series Twilight was conceived from a dream.
Oh, I can believe that.
What did you say?
I can believe that. A bad dream, probably.
Nightmare.
And Rolling Stones song Satisfaction, The Police. I think it was Don't Stand So Close to Me. Just tons and tons of musical and literary works come from dreams. And they often say that as soon as they woke up, they wrote it down and boom, I mean, in a heartbeat. It was so fast. Something that would normally take a long time to create, they just, boom, downloaded it and wrote it down, and it was created.
So would you say, I mean, like you were saying earlier about, like, you have dream cycles, right? So if you're having a number of dreams a night, then, like, for someone like myself who very rarely remembers any of it, and it seems like the ones that I do remember are during that REM, where I'm woke partially the way through the dream, So all those other dreams that I'm missing out on, I mean, how is there any way of kind of, maybe remembering them a bit better, or is there any techniques that you can do?
Yes. So before we started recording, you mentioned how you kind of bolt out of bed every morning and get going.
Much, yeah.
So that's part of the problem. When we are asleep and dreaming, first of all, if you can find a day where you cannot set the alarm and not have to rush out of bed and start engaging your linear conscious mind, because we have different brainwave states and, high level thinking, like we're talking right now, thinking about what am I going to say next? No, here's what I want to say because he said that and da-da-da. That's beta brainwaves. Now, alpha and theta are the next lower down, which are a little more relaxed, but still thinking and processing, but more like in that relaxed state. Like I've had a lot of massage therapists tell me that as soon as people lay down on their table and start getting in that kind of like, kind of state, they go, oh, I had this dream last night. I have to tell you about it. Because they're going back into the same brainwave state that they had while they were dreaming. That's called state specifics. They've even done studies on state specific learning where if you have somebody learn a skill or study something while they're, using marijuana, they will perform better on a test when they're in the same state. So if they're using marijuana. Same with if they learn it when they're sober, they're going to perform better on the test when they're sober because they're in the same state. So getting back into that same state. So when you wake up, if you can allow yourself to stay in that alpha brainwave state where you're just kind of, okay, pay attention to what does my body feel like? What am I feeling? Is anything drifting into my mind right now? And not pull yourself into the day-to-day. Okay, today I'm going to edit this podcast and I'm going to go for a run and I'm going to make coffee and I'm going to do this and that and take the bin out.
It's generally the coffee. It's the coffee thing, instant coffee, or a cat poking me in the face.
I must admit, I think I do that kind of thing. though. I do get. I don't jump when I need to. I do, but when I know I've got I don't have to get up all day. Be like, I mean, what am I feeling? What's going on around? I don't clear my head.
I've got stuff to do. I just get up. As soon as my eyes open, I'm literally right.
You can't work all the time. You've got to play as well.
Oh, I know, but I mean, this is the thing. I'd love to kind of remember them, and I think like I'm going to try and take some of your advice on this. Why do you think people have oh, sorry, what was you going to say there?
Well, can I just say a little bit more about that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It doesn't have to be every day. You don't just have to lounge in bed till late.
Oh, don't do this every day. No, I don't do it every day, honestly.
Well, some of us like to do that.
I'd like to, but I just can't do it.
But what you can do is pick a day when you don't have to set the alarm or rush out of bed. And another part of this is setting the intention before you go to sleep and telling yourself over and over, I would like to remember a dream tonight. I would like to remember a dream. And you can also ask for a dream on a certain topic. That's called dream incubation. That's been used since the temples in ancient Greece.
I kind of like that because I've used it for time. When my alarm clock I know has been messing up and I'm like, I've got to be up at 9. I've got to be up at 9. And I say to myself like at night, a couple hours before.
Just wake myself up before 9.
Well, to myself, to my subconscious, I think that like make sure up, and I can guarantee I can bang. And it's like, whoa. Most of the time it doesn't work, but quite a lot of the time it does.
I think most people can say that they've kind of like, forced themselves awake. So there's obviously like something going on in your mind there while you're asleep to kind of prompt you to,
like a little,
just to give you a nudge to say,
bang, wake up.
But what Mimi's saying there is you can use that technique as to kind of influence this type of dream you're having.
Yeah.
So
just think, if you can program yourself to wake up at a certain time, what else can you program yourself to do or believe you can do? And then you can ask your dreams for creative ideas. Let's say you want to write a book, but you're not sure what about, or you are writing a book, a fictional book about a story, and you're stuck at a certain part of the story. You can ask your dreams to show you a good plot or twist or whatever for that story. And you can ask for insights about a relationship, or what is my true purpose. The sky's the limit in terms of what you can ask. One of the keys is to ask the question in an open-ended form, like, how can I, or show me some insights about, rather than a yes or no question, because yes or no is more black and white thinking, and it doesn't leave room for possibilities. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, she was living in Houston, Texas, and she was going to move. And she thought, well, I could move back to Alaska where I'm from, but there's really no social life for me there, but I could afford a house. Or she could move back to Seattle because she used to live here. She said, I'd have a great social life, but I couldn't afford a house. And those were two things that were important to her. So she went to bed thinking, where should I move? Or show me, she wasn't even trying to do dream incubation. This is why we say sleep on it, right? Subconsciously, we kind of know this. So she went to bed thinking about where she wanted to live next, and she woke up and literally bolted out of bed and went, Austin, it's Austin, Texas, because she already had a community there for her work. It was affordable in terms of buying a house, and she hadn't even consciously considered it. But it's kind of like how your dream allowed you to access that problem you were trying to remember, the computer software you were trying to remember how to use. Our subconscious records everything. Yeah. But our conscious mind, they give you've probably heard this iceberg analogy, where the conscious mind is just the tip of the iceberg sticking out of the water.
Yes, I have
and
heard
the subconscious
this.
mind is the vast iceberg below the surface of the water. So we remember and record everything. And, this is back to the quantum physics thing. If you believe in the quantum field or the collective unconscious, that there's ideas and possibilities and things floating around, that we're able to also get in touch with that.
Well, we've definitely,
and again, whether you call it our higher selves, our creativity, the divine source, whatever, this is where, I'm like you. I don't like to personally name it for people, but I like to ask people, what is your belief? Is this do you believe in your intuition or higher self, or do you want to call it God or Jesus, or do you want to call it the quantum field or whatever? And to me, it's all the same kind of energy.
Yeah,
totally. And then we can access that through the dream state.
Generally speaking, I think if, we were talking about this recently as well, weren't we, about your gut, about trusting your gut and trusting and, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like when when it's right for you, when it's what information's coming through is going to benefit you. And when you have these sort of bad dreams and you're waking up from it and it's almost offering you a solution that you'd not even contemplated before, then there's definitely something to this sort of, your consciousness guiding you. If so, I mean, it's your body, isn't it? Your body is sort of always seems to be kind of pointing you in the right direction. Yeah,
but to be honest myself, I think it's more the subconscious than the conscious. The conscious is the action of what you're doing now, but the subconscious
that's what I mean.
is the control of everything.
Well, they say the body is the subconscious. The subconscious expresses itself through the body. So you're both kind of saying the same thing.
Okay,
fair enough. I agree. Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of discuss a couple of, we've discussed like lucid dreams and prophetic, not pathetic, you know what I say there.
Yeah, prophetic, psychic, that's all
dreams.
The right words.
Where do daydreams fall into it? Are daydreams the same as night dreams?
Actually, I've heard that we go through a similar circadian rhythm during the day as we go through during the night. So about every 90 minutes or so, we typically enter more of a daydream-like state.
Zone out.
Now, if you're giving a TED talk for 2 hours, you might not start daydreaming an hour and a half in. I'm not saying that, but just as part of a natural circadian rhythm, we will sort of go in and out between the higher brain waves and then the more kind of
you see, I'm forever zoning out. I mean, I see people like as well where, do you know, when you've got to go hello and you know, wave in front of the faces because they're off on another planet, you know, and I think, what was you thinking about then? You know, like
I can't remember, you know.
But, I can't remember. So it kind of makes me think that, I mean, like you were saying there, operating on brain waves and like alpha and beta waves. Does that? So you're saying that like daydreams, you kind of
alpha, I'd say.
Would they be alpha, or would they be more like on the same level as the beta? Do you know, like you said, we're going on a 90-minute
more
cycle.
Alpha.
So
yeah, more.
So it's more just the sort of the cycles that we seem to go through.
Yes, and actually, this is something we can harness as well. And some of the really big companies. Now, I don't work for Google, but I've read that they are aware of this and utilize this. When we take a break from trying to think, let's say somebody's a writer and they're working on that plot of the story and they're just really using their beta high-level thinking brainwaves and they just get stuck. Writer's block, right?
Yeah.
One of the best, now we think, okay, I got to keep going and I got to get this done, right? This could apply to any, especially creative endeavor or figuring out a logical problem even, like your computer software. One of the best things we can do is take a break, go outside, take a walk,
100%. Yeah.
go play a game, play some foosball or ping pong.
In my last job, sorry to interrupt, in my last job, we were literally encouraged to, you know, like, take a break. Every
That's right.
And because
that's one of those smart companies.
Well, I mean, it was basically quite a creative field, and it was a case of burnout. It was like if you didn't, you know, take a break, you would make mistakes, and it is, you know, it's one of those where it's such a benefit just taking 5 minutes to think about something else when you're working on something that's taxing or that's literally burning your head out, and you need. It's all I recommend that in any situation is always just take 5 minutes, step back.
And I think you're right. Google's like the number one to actually sort of bring it out more into the open. Like companies should kind of do this kind of thing because it actually helps in the long run.
Well, productivity and stuff, but I mean, in terms of kind of like burning your employees out and keeping them
the amount of people
creative
out there is...
Well, it's more to do with kind of like Mimi was saying there, the you know, creativity and how you're kind of, you know, we push ourselves to a breaking point, and like you do need to kind of
step back
and just let your mind kind of wash backwards a little bit, so you can kind of. And then you'll find that those answers that you're struggling on, and those you know, questions that you're asking, you'll find that they're actually easier than you thought.
Yeah, because you've got time to sit back now and collect all that data that's been thrown at you for so long, and you can go, now let's use it. Much. What's useful, what's not.
So So when we take a break from the conscious mind, the subconscious mind gets to kick in, and remember that's that bigger part of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So if we go play a game of ping pong or take a walk, and we stop trying to force an outcome and stop trying to consciously think about the answer, we're accessing our creative, nonlinear, intuitive problem solving and ideas. And then that just floats up. And companies like Google that we're using as an example know this. And that's why they actually put out a lot of games for their employees. Right. They have places where they can go rest. And I'll tell you about Einstein. Another thing that he did in a second, remind me to come back to that. But they encourage their employees to do this, not only of course, to avoid burnout, but also because they know that's when something called peripheral thinking happens. That's when they get all those creative, intuitive ideas. And guess what? Those are what make the company a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win.
So definitely it's like, we want more of that. Yeah. Go and have a nap.
Yeah.
Stop working, have a rest. We pay you to sleep, not to work.
Sounds pretty awesome. I'm going to go and work for Google.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, sounds like a good company.
It sounds like an ad for them. And again, I don't work for them, but I have read this more than once. And Einstein used to hold, I think it was a metal ball or something. It was Einstein and Thomas Edison both used this. I'm sure more people than just them. But they would hold something heavy in their hand, and then they would allow themselves to just kind of drift off in their chair while they're thinking about the theory of relativity or whatever it is they're trying to invent or solve.
Yeah, I've read a lot of scientists
so that when they go into that twilight kind of dreamy kind of state, they're accessing the ideas. And as soon as they would start to go deeper asleep, their hand would relax so much they would drop the heavy object, and boom, the sound would wake them up. And they did that on purpose so that they could remember whatever the information was that they accessed. Because otherwise, like I said, if you have an REM dream or access that state, and then you go into the other stages of sleep where you're not dreaming and you wake up during that, you're not going to remember it.
So Einstein could have had some absolutely groundbreaking, no, he did, but I mean, he could have even had more, he's probably forgot half of the stuff he came up with.
Like, same as Stephen Hawking, they've had so many ideas, but it's trying to, once you've got an idea, you've got to try and, prove it, and you only have a certain amount of time to prove certain amount of things, don't you? So
yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's like Tesla, and he done sort of the same thing with the electric and stuff, but then he got. So
we've got a bit of time left. I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of dreams that people have sent in, and as well 1 or 2 of my own actually. Yeah, you've got one as well.
I've got 2 of my own, but I've got a nice little quote here.
Do you want to go first? Do you want to ask Mimi yours first?
Yeah, you know what? I've had this dream for so long, and I don't know what it is. And basically, what it is there's like a town. Let's say like Brazil. And you got, all them backdrops, you got all them little villages together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a path and you can go up, and there's a road, and it goes to a gate where there's a house. And I see this house, I get to this house, and then I wake up. There's nothing more, but I've had it so many times.
So it's just the journey.
It's sort of like a journey through all that to get to my castle or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But it's a dark.
I'm going to practice what Mimi said earlier, and I'm going to give you mine. No,
go on then.
Start with if you want to do this, just start with if it were my dream, I would think, feel, and don't say you at all. Just say if it were my dream.
Well, if it were my dream, I'd think that would be an idyllic sort of goal to head to. What you like a quiet, I'd like a nice, quiet little kind of hilltop place where it was left alone, and just.
Yeah, but it was dark and dingy. It was like some weirdo was living in there or something. But as soon as I got to the gates, it was like, right.
If I had a dream like that, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is cool because now you're getting to see, and I could do, and if it were my dream, I could give a few different takes, but let me stay focused on a couple other things here. One, if we had 5 people in a group, you would hear a lot of different takes on that. If it were my dream, like if it were my dream, I would think it was my goal to buying a house. If it were my dream, I would think, my life is a journey. If it were my dream, I would think I'm trying to get somewhere, but I never get in there.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good
someone
one.
Else.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Someone else might say, if it were my dream, I would think this was a past life where I lived in that house. Who knows? You could hear the gamut, if something doesn't resonate with you, you go, nah,
I was
that's
about
not
to say,
it for
did
me.
any of that resonate with you then?
Maybe the journey. The last point was a no, a definite no. But yeah, it's sort of like supposedly it's like a journey, but I don't know. I think there's more to it.
Okay. Now let's get into the one-on-one where I ask you questions, because this is the difference between a dream group and a one-on-one session. This is great because now people get to really experience it. And by the way, I have a dream forum on my website where people can join through my Patreon for my podcast. It's going to normally be $10 a month, but right now they can join for as little as $1 or $5 a month, and they can share a dream. And I personally will comment, and other forum members can comment if this were my dream. Cool. So if people want a low investment financial way to get an exploration of a dream, they can join my forum and get some feedback on their dream. Now, a one-on-one session would be more like this. I would ask you, let's do this. How did you feel in the dream?
I felt okay, actually, until I got to the house, and then I was more confused. I thought it was like I'm walking through a busy shopping area, but they're really tight. I mean, you've got to squeeze through, and there is a lot of people there, and it's very busy. But then as soon as I get to the top of the hill, it's like there's a dark and dingy place. But I don't know, it felt like I know the place. I do feel like I know the place, but I don't know where. Yeah, but the reason why I don't say past life is because it's more in these decades than past decades.
But like we were saying earlier, I mean, if you kind of subscribe to the fact that, or the idea that times past, present, and future is all happening at once, then how could you say that it was any time? It could be,
Well, see, this is where if I'm doing a dream work session, whatever the dreamer is experiencing, I go with that.
Yeah.
And I don't, and this is totally fine conversation and all that, but I never try to convince somebody that is something other than what they think. Because you could be a different dreamer and be like, I feel like this was my past life in, Scotland or whatever. And I'd be like, okay, then let's explore that. Now, it's still going to have some relevance to their life today. So it doesn't really matter if it's a past life or not, because you're living this life right now.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the dream. You feel like you know this house. So first, as you were walking along the path, and I didn't hear this on the first time. This is why I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So as you go along the path and the road to the house, there's like a shopping area. It's really busy and crowded.
Massively.
And what did that feel like when you were there? Like kind of overwhelming was I getting, or what did it feel like when you're in the busy area?
Yeah, a little overwhelming, a little confused on why do I keep going this same route and turning up at this yard, but it's so busy down here. I don't see faces. I see maybe materials like, clocks and stuff like that, doors and that, but I don't see that much around, but I know it is busy. It's more like an arcade kind of thing. A place of arcade.
Okay, so it's very busy, and you kind of think, why do I keep going the same route?
Yeah, I'm wondering, why am I going up through all this to this place that I know, but I sort of think I don't know, if you know what I mean. Because I don't believe I've ever seen it before, only in my dreams, but I know the place when I'm there. But I don't actually enter.
When you get to the top of the hill, you describe the house as dark and dingy.
Yeah,
and you feel like you know it. And earlier you were saying maybe like a creepy person lives in there. Can you say a little bit more about the house and who lives there and what you feel like when you get there?
I don't get no sense of anyone who actually lives there. I only get the sense that the place is it's set back. It's set back that I can't reach because I never actually when the gates open, I never actually get in there. And it's like you'd see trees and overgrowth here and there, and stuff like that. But it's like a mansion kind of house.
Okay, a dark and dingy mansion house.
Yeah, but it's one. It's like there's one door and like one massive archway. See, when you get them buildings, if you have a look at a normal British building on the side, it could look like an archway.
Okay.
Yeah?
No, not really. But
I can picture like an old movie, like this would be the place where the spooky person lives, maybe, or something.
Yeah,
I
get no.
Was it spooky though? Was it?
No.
Did you feel like there was danger?
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that it was spooky.
Oh
because
no,
he didn't say that.
Yeah, no.
So let's get some more descriptive words from you. If you could give me some adjectives to describe this house, what other words would you use to describe it?
I get a sense that there's happiness there. I do get a sense that there is happiness there, but I just can't sort of, like I say, I can't go through the gate. As soon as I hit the gate and I want to go through, I'm waking up. So it's like I'm only getting the outside.
If that was me having that dream, I'd say that it would be more to like a goal thing. Like you know that there's happiness, or I'd know that there was happiness and something that I was trying to get towards, but you know, you're not letting yourself, or or I'm not letting myself, I should say. God,
yeah.
I won't. Oh, yeah. No, never mind.
No, it's good. In a live group, I would just hold up a little sign with the letter I, because I don't usually go I, but I'm just like trying to catch this.
It's easy.
I'm just going to start calling myself Caesar.
It's not
because
a way we're used to
see yourself
talking.
in the idea. You don't see yourself as in the I. You see yourself as the you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and what it really is doing is fostering empathy too, because you're imagining that you're him in this dream, that you are in that dream scene. Again, if you start saying you, it's going to put the other person on the defense. Like, how do you know what's right for me? But if you say I, they can take it in more and be like, oh, yeah, it's like that for you. Maybe I could imagine. Yeah, I guess that could be like that for me. Or no, that doesn't fit for me. Okay. So you, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. No, I was just saying.
Okay. So you never get quite into the gate. Now, it's an interesting contrast between describing it as dark and dingy, but also that there's happiness in there. Can you say a little bit more about that?
I think it's more old style of, like, you know, maybe a grandpa or something like that who used to live there.
So does anyone live there now, or do you have a sense for that?
No. On that point, I would say that it's probably the house is abandoned now. But there used to be something there, but I just can't get in there to find out if there is anything in there, if there's not
a connection or something.
Yeah, or if someone's going to stand at the door or anything like that. I mean, because like I look to the windows and stuff like that to try and get little bits to see if I can work it out myself on what's actually going on here.
Right.
So maybe the dingy has more to do with the whole abandoned aspect.
It might be.
And not to do with what...
Just a question.
Curious.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, it's pretty interesting.
And so when you're at that gate, what are you thinking or feeling?
What's behind there? Why? Again, why is it so busy down there and it's not so busy up here? And it seems like this is the palace. Down there is the staff, I suppose, kind of thing.
Okay.
But I don't see no one. You know what I mean? This is it. I know it's busy. There's noise, but I don't see anyone, realistically.
So are you kind of curious, like, why aren't more people up here? Because this is really cool? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, there's a big house up here that you could, I don't know, if you were a bit of a rebel, you could have a party in there or two, you know what I mean? You could,
I have no idea where you're going with this.
Like, no one really around up there. I don't see anyone around there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, what do you think on that, Mimi?
Let me do my thing here. I'm getting to that. I'm almost there. But I kind of also go into a bit of a intuitive, or I'm not saying I'm going to give you an intuitive reading on this, but I have to let my kind of nonlinear mind let everything sift together. But also I've been taking furious notes. And let me just take a second here and see if there's anything else I want to ask. And we don't have to go into every dream like this, but since this is yours, I can ask you questions. If you have listener dreams, I can ask them questions, right? Yeah. So this is a great way to show people how this works, because it's hard to tell them in words. I'll ask you a lot of questions and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, so you're thinking to yourself, why is it so busy down there and not up here? Well, this is the palace up here. Mm-hmm. It seems kind of, how do you feel when you think about that? Like you mentioned earlier.
Confused. I'm just confused with it every time I go back. It's confusing.
So are you wondering in that moment, like, I don't understand why more people aren't at this palace rather than in the hustle and bustle of the shopping area? Yeah. Is that what you're thinking, or could you articulate it in a different way?
I would say I'm more confused with the whole lot of it, of like like it's sort of separated, like, you know, the rich and the poor. It's sort of that kind of thing, but it's empty up there, but it's busy down in the poor area kind of thing. That's the way I see it, because, like I say, I don't really see anyone when I'm walking through, but I can hear him and I can see it's busy. There's stuff to sell. There's stuff to do. It reminds me sort of like Blackpool. Reminds me of that kind of stuff, but then carry on going through the busy part, and then all of a sudden I've walked up this hill and this is where this building is with these gates.
Would you say it reminds you of Blackpool?
Blackpool.
Yeah, we've got
like seaside town.
It's like your Las Vegas.
Okay, can you tell me what is
Blackpool?
It's
what's
basically
important is what Blackpool is to the dreamer, because
it's basically arcades. There are arcades.
Oh, it's arcades. Okay, is it a rich area or a poor area?
Pretty poor.
It's pretty poor area, yeah.
Okay, okay.
But Brazil always come into my mind of the way they were stacked together. The Brazil, you know, up the hills, you see them all stacked together, the houses and stuff like that. That's what it reminds me of. As soon as I see it, straight away, it reminds me of Brazil.
Right, okay.
Does Brazil also have sort of separate rich and poor areas?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So again, we could go on like this for much further in depth with the questions, right? I could even have you speak as the house and do all kinds of really fascinating things. But for the interest of time here, this is where I'll do sort of a reflection back to you of some of your words. And a lot of times I might do that in the if it were my dream kind of way.
Yeah.
So you described the first part of the dream as going on the road, the path through the busy shopping area, as kind of overwhelming and confusing, and saying, why do I keep going down the same route? It's really busy. If this were my dream, I would feel like, where in my life do I feel like I keep doing the same thing over and over, or taking the same path, not even necessarily literally as a road, but in my life, the same types of work, the same habits, the same routines. Why do I keep doing this when it's full of hustle and bustle and stress and too many people? Yeah. And it also feels like it has something to do with not making enough money.
Yeah. I'd say.
Definitely along the top there.
Well, no, I mean, I think Mimi's here. I mean, I was thinking of quite a lot.
Can I just finish the train of thought first?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
It's just like I have to kind of piece it all together, and it'll make more sense too if it's all coherent. So, and then, but somehow I am able to take myself from out of a place that feels like poverty and hustle and bustle and doing the same thing over and over. And I'm able to get to a higher place where I feel like this is really cool. It's much more peaceful. It feels like a castle in a way, a palace. I feel like I want to go in there, but it feels like if it were my dream, I feel like this part of my life that's more peaceful and maybe has access to more wealth has been somehow neglected, maybe abandoned, maybe not even necessarily by myself. But I think a lot of things can be intergenerational. If our parents or grandparents, things we don't even know about can affect us. But if it were my dream, I would wonder about that. So if it were my dream, I'm also struck by the fact that even though this place feels abandoned, there's happiness in there. Yeah. And the gate opens in front of me. Yeah. So I'm struck by the fact that, and I think that did the gate open by itself?
Yeah, both of them apart.
So I'm struck by the fact that this gate just opens and I am given an opportunity to just walk through into this higher, nicer place. So that's kind of a nutshell of maybe how a dream session would work. But then I would also ask you if you could reimagine a new ending for this dream, what would it be?
Walk in and whatever the happiness behind it was, I've joined into it, I suppose.
Exactly. That's what I would imagine as well.
Yeah, of course.
So this is a great mental exercise you can do, especially right before you go to sleep, because whatever we think about in the last 45 minutes before we go to sleep is going to influence the content of our dreams and also the quality of our next day. So just like you program yourself to wake up at a certain time in the morning, you can program yourself to have your consciousness entertain new possibilities, that it is possible for me to get into the castle, or you called it a palace.
Yeah.
It is possible for me to get into this better place that's not all about the hustle, and where there is more abundance, whether that's just financially, but also emotionally with the happiness that's found in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think that's why people get up on the wrong side of the bed when they kind of, because they, well, no, generally, I'm being serious. I mean, like, I've woke up and felt like in a mood when I wasn't in a mood the night before, and nothing, you know, and it must have been something that's happened. I've been thinking about during my sleep that's got me up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning, you know, and
yes. So sometimes what happens is we get caught up in that hustle and bustle of that shopping area type of life that we all face, you know, and we don't have time to process our feelings. So if something is really bothering us, like I really feel a calling to write a book or do a podcast or paint pictures or whatever, and we're so caught up in the day-to-day hustle and bustle, we don't really get to, you know, entertain that idea. Then during our sleep, when we dream, our dreams are going to process that for us. So if we're feeling upset by something, or maybe even a relationship, we had to sweep something under the carpet, whether it's a coworker or a relationship, romantic partner, we weren't able to acknowledge or address something. What we push down in waking life comes up in our dreams.
Right. Now, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like I say, I mean, it's like Taylor was just there saying, you know, about his dream, and it seems when you was discussing it, it was like it went from being you started elaborating more on it, you know, towards the. I mean, it went from being walking up this hill to seeing this smaller house to being like a grander, and you know,
because I've had it so many times, and I questioned it.
So would you say that was a recurring dream then you have?
Yeah, it used to be a recurring one all the time, quite often actually, but it's less these days, but I still get it in.
Why do you think people have, again, is recurring dreams because of, you know, it's something quite important that you need to address?
Yes, recurring dreams happen every time a recurring situation or issue comes up for you. So I would ask, do you remember when the first time you had this dream was? Around, like how old you were, how many years ago? Or?
Yeah, it'd be the 90s. It'd be the late 90s, I'd say.
So, okay. And when was the most recent time you had it?
I'd say, don't know, about 2 years ago.
Okay, so what we would look at, and you don't have to answer this right now, and it may click or it may take a while to kind of put things together, but and about how often did you have it?
In the 90s, I was having it like near enough, maybe once a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it suddenly started, it disappeared, and then it'd come back, and then it'd come every now and again.
Okay, so you might want to look at what started or changed in the late 90s that you could connect to some of the feelings in this dream that maybe stopped a couple years ago. Yeah. So we want to look at how long ago it first happened, when did it last happen, how often, and what might have been coming up for you. Like maybe in the late 90s, the struggle of getting from, you know, I would imagine if it were me, because I think all of us kind of go through this, you know, when we're a younger adult, we're trying to just get by and figure out what to do with our lives and deal with the hustle and trying to make enough money to live and all that. And then as you move forward, hopefully it's, you know,
it starts going
it's a little easier, or you kind of find your way a little more. Not that any of us ever completely find the way, but
still looking. Well,
we're always on a path. But that's sort of how recurring dreams work. And as soon as we get the message from the dream or the recurring situation or issue stops happening, that's when we stop having it. So whatever this dream was about may not have been an issue for you for the last couple years since you haven't had it.
I'll be watching out for that.
I had a dream.
I was curious to ask you. Sorry, just quickly, Taylor. The kind of recap I did of the feeding back of the "If It Were My Dream," how did that land with you? Did any of that resonate? Did any of it fit for you? Or
I can see aspects of it that I could put into place. But I've also think there's still quite a few more gaps there that need filling in.
Yeah, that's where, we spent, 10 or 15 minutes on it, I'm guessing, but I would spend at least an hour with a person normally on a dream. So often it's easier to even go more, even if it's a fragment of a dream. Sometimes people are like, oh, I only remember little snippets of a dream. And I'm like, you'd be amazed what we can even get from that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the kind of what I was going to bring up with you tonight, because basically I had a fragment of a dream. It was one of those REM waking up and kind of remembering
it all.
But it was more of the panic that I remember, because like yourself, it was a dream where I was walking through a sort of a market, but it was nighttime. It was almost like the Christmas markets, so it was like those kind of like twinkling lights around, and almost kind of like sort of shimmering, just not kind of fully in focus.
Yeah.
But I was walking with a couple of people, and I don't recall who they were, but it was almost like my legs I went weightless, and it was almost like my legs kind of got swept behind me, and I was taken off the ground and almost floating away, but like legs backwards.
Dragged backwards.
Yeah, it was like my legs, I went weightless, and it was like I was being pulled up from the backs of my heels.
Yeah.
And I was floating away, and it was only that somebody who was in the market or with me grabbed me and pulled me down, and that was when I woke up. And it was the panic that woke me up, because it was like, what the hell was that? Because I felt the weightlessness.
Well, if I had that dream, I would say that someone's probably holding me back, and there's
keeping me down.
He's actually got hold of me and
keeping me grounded.
At the moment. To my if it was mine.
Well,
that's an interesting take.
I'd like to keep grounded in that respect, because obviously
because there's two ways to look at it. If this were the way, I can think of another explanation that I'll offer as a possibility, and it doesn't rule out an interpretive meaning as well, but you could see that as this person's holding me down, or you could see it as this person's keeping me grounded.
That's the way I kind of looked at it. It was like, thank God for this person who basically saved me from
going away,
from floating off into the cosmos. Who knows where it would have ended up? Where it was like, being pulled back down to earth, and it was like whoever that was, I don't know. And it was more the feeling of the panic that kind of stayed with me. It was the idea, and like I say, the weightlessness that actually felt so real, but it came from behind. It felt like I was being dragged, like I say, dragged from my heels backwards. So rather than floating off head first, it was feet first.
Was there a lot of colour?
No, it was like I say, it was quite like a nighttime, but the only colours were like sort of ambient lights in the distance. It was nothing bright. What are you saying? Like I was being alien abduction?
No. I was just thinking. I was just gonna say, like, certain objects or certain colours in that obviously must have indications of parts of dreams, which.
No. In terms of like surroundings, it was kind of like a crisp winter's night. That's why I say more like the Christmas markets, because it was quite on the street. It was like an outside street, quite a wide road, not very many people, but you could see things were happening. Like I say, it was quite a clear road. It was the fact that when you kind of swept up and feeling like you're being dragged off. Not even dragged off. It was more to do with like free floating off. Yeah, like a helium balloon, you know. And it was like I say, it was more the fact that somebody pulled me down. And
it might be that I was full of hot air if I had that dream.
So before your feet started floating off the ground, do you remember what you were thinking or feeling as you were walking through the market with these people?
No, actually, yes, I do. I felt quite like, pleasantly quite happy and relaxed, and really quite like having a nice time. You know, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It was just kind of like a few friends walking down the street, and then it was a shock all of a sudden thing. And it was, like I say, it was overwhelming panic and then relief because somebody had pulled me down again, you know, and it was like, that's basically it. And this is like I say, I don't very rarely remember my dreams, and this was something that's this is a pretty recent one, you know, like in terms of what I can remember. So,
see, you're psychic too. That was my next question. When did you have this?
I am a little bit.
When you say recent, do you mean like a week ago or 6 months ago?
It was a week and a half ago, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That makes it easier to connect. Now, I'm going to give one possible biological reason for this dream, but then we're also going to look at metaphorical, symbolic explanations that could apply as well.
Okay.
So when we go through those sleep cycles, as we're laying in bed and transitioning from waking to the sleep state, there's a reason they call it falling asleep, because as we're going from the higher to the lower brainwave states, it can induce the physical sensation of falling. And that's why some people get, what's called myoclonic jerks, where your leg sort of kicks because you think you're actually falling.
I do that all the time. I do that watching films.
I've got to do that twice before I fall asleep.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that if someone's jumping off a building in a film, or like leaping off something. I'm jumping with them. Honestly.
Well, and if you're awake, that's one thing. That's more of an empathetic mirror neuron kind of response. But what I'm talking about is when you're transitioning from waking to sleeping. So it can create in the body the physical sensation of falling, or on the opposite end, as we're waking up and transitioning up in brainwaves, it can create the sensation of flying. So it could be that when you are having that dream, somehow you're transitioning into moving into the higher brainwave states towards waking, and that got incorporated as a feeling in your body of sort of floating, and the dream created a story around that. Just like if your neighbor's car alarm is going off, or someone's playing a radio really loud while you're sleeping and dreaming, you'll incorporate that into the story of whatever you're dreaming about. So that is a possibility. Like one night I got one of those, like a neck spasm in the middle of the night. I didn't have it when I went to bed, and I must have slept on my neck wrong and got a muscle spasm in my neck. And I dreamed that this monster had a claw grabbing in my neck, So the dreaming mind makes up a story around the physical sensation that we're experiencing. That's a possibility. Now, nobody was doing a study on you to find out your brainwaves and your physical state and all that. So who knows? But if we look at the symbolism, and if I just kind of reflect back to you some of what you said, like I'm having a pleasant time with friends, just sort of happy and relaxed.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden this shock happens that like literally knocks me off my feet. Now, the thing our conscious mind wants to do is stay connected to the story of that dream. But if you just for a minute put aside the story, forget about that, and just think back to a week and a half ago, if anything might have been going on where you were just kind of having a fine old time, and then all of a sudden you got knocked off your feet, metaphorically or emotionally speaking.
I could probably say that's accounted for the last year and a half.
For most of us, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but yeah, sure. Basically, yeah. I'd say that in the last year that has happened, like you say, to most people, where life was one way and you expected it to be, not set in stone, but going in a particular direction, and then all of a sudden it's a dramatic change, and it's you've been knocked off your feet. So I can probably attribute some of it to that, but it was the more the being pulled back down and the kind of the feeling and the sensations that I felt. That was kind of strange to me. So,
what do you mean the sensations?
Well, like I say, I actually felt panic. I felt the sensation of losing gravity. I felt my feet, and like I say, I keep making a big deal about the way I floated off, but it was almost, imagine like your feet were taken backwards, so you kind of like pushed. And then then your head's gone forward, your feet have gone up. It's
oh right, so your feet's up first, not your head.
That's what I'm saying. You're not being dragged up.
I thought you were floating
first.
But your
no,
feet
it was literally like being pulled up from my feet.
Right,
so
okay.
It's actually making me feel quite emotional. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's different to how I was thinking it.
Dreams connect us to our deepest emotions. So the feelings that are coming up for you right now, and it's totally fine what you said, you don't need to go into it, because I even do that with private clients. I'll say, you don't have to tell me what this is about for you or what this is bringing up. You can if you want, but you don't have to. I don't need to know. What matters is that you know. And so those feelings that are coming up for you right now are likely something that has come up for you, or feelings that were up when whatever is at the source of this dream happened. And whether it's been going on for a year and a half, it sounds like something a week and a half ago either re-triggered those feelings or made you just even think about them. Because sometimes something doesn't have to happen in waking life, but it can just be strongly on our mind in order for us to dream about it. So that feeling of being ungrounded, being taken off guard, being knocked off my feet, but it was also accompanied by somebody grabbing my feet and pulling me back down to the ground.
Well, they actually pulled my back, my shirt, like my clothing, and pulled, because like I say, my feet were already up there. So
that's a lucky grab.
I mean, I don't know who it was, but in my dream, I was quite thankful to them.
If it was me, I would say it was a guardian angel kind of thing.
Would you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be a very good possibility. Whether, this is where it comes down to what the person believes, what the dreamer believes. And I could say something like, if it were my dream, I would feel like there was someone or something or some part of myself that was able to ground me. And I'm going to hold on to that and remember that, so that if I ever feel this way again, which we all do at times, when next time something knocks me off my feet or takes me off guard or brings up those kinds of feelings for me, I'm going to remember that there is also another energy that can ground me. And I would do what I suggested to Taylor of, before you go to sleep at night, sometime when you have a quiet night and the ability to just kind of go within, really imagine that person. You don't even have to see their face, but that energy, imagine that energy that was able to pull you back down to the ground, and really kind of be with it, imagine embracing it, talking to it, whatever feels right for you.
Yeah.
And connecting with it and remembering that is a resource, because dreams will outline, the feelings, the challenges that we're having in life, but they're also going to give us solutions and clues as to the antidote to our problems, so to speak.
Totally. They've given answers to me in the past. I know that.
Well, this is it. Take note and kind of try and. I think there are benefits, obviously, to having talking these things through with people and getting a better understanding. Because it's all self-discovery, isn't it? And all personal growth and trying to understand the way you work and the way
it's sort of psychology. Like I always think, psychology is. The person's there asking you the questions, but actually you're the one who's giving the answers.
Yeah.
You're not actually, the person who's asking it is not actually wanting the answers. You're actually answering yourself.
I don't. Obviously, this show's we've gone way over in terms of time tonight. We did have a couple of people who messaged in. I will give. They basically gave a couple of sent in a couple of dreams. Not too much information. So, can you just give us a bit of a quick overall, a bit of an opinion, quick opinion on them? So
sure, and I can go as long as you want. So I don't know how much time you have, but
we'll work it out. So Shannon, she's basically says she's had a recurring dream her entire life, and says that it's a pretty common one. This one, teeth falling out.
Oh,
but she says sometimes hers turn into gemstones.
Oh, really?
And it sometimes freaks her out, but she wouldn't mind knowing. She says she's been told it can kind of be related to anxieties, but she'd like to know if you've come across that one.
Right. This is an interesting one. So let me preface this by saying there are some dreams that are universal, like teeth falling out, flying, falling, being naked in public, that people all over the world have. And those dreams have been studied. And we can often say, well, it usually means this, but we still want to check with the dreamer, does this fit for you? Like being naked in public usually means we're feeling vulnerable and exposed. But what if somebody's walking around going, hey, you know what? I look good and I'm okay with my nakedness. That might be about them not being afraid to reveal their true self. So there's always the exceptions to the rules. But because this is one of those universal kind of dreams, and unfortunately, this is one you're going to find a million different takes on, from someone's going to have a baby to you're going to lose all your money. Don't believe all that kind of crap.
Right, okay.
Now, if you grew up in a culture that says if you dream your teeth fall out, somebody is going to have a baby, maybe you've ingrained that symbolism to where you believe it and you embrace it, to where if your aunt is pregnant but you don't consciously know that, you might have that dream. Okay, with all that out of the way, in my experience, dreams of teeth falling out often happen when we compromise our true self for the sake of someone else. So in a way, we're losing part of ourself, literally.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, well.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I wonder if, Shannon, take note of that.
Yeah.
See if that, any of that rings true to you.
Yeah. So she may have been in a situation where she, had to go along, or felt like she had to go along with someone else's wishes for the sake of their wishes rather than her own. And this can be a reminder to get in touch with your truth and be more, as Martha Beck would say, living in integrity with your own truth.
Yeah.
And, speaking up for yourself when you can, and making your needs and wishes known.
Okay.
So one more interesting thing about Shannon's dream is the gemstones, because usually the teeth are either crumbling or they're falling out in the sink, and the degree of the severity, like all my teeth fell out and it was gushing blood versus, part of a tooth broke off. The degree of the severity kind of reflects the degree of the problem that's reflecting in our life, like how much we've compromised ourselves. Now, hers are turning into gemstones. So that would be really interesting to talk to her about. What did she feel like? Was she kind of in terror when they fell out, but then thrilled when they turn into gemstones?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's symbolic of her sort of not speaking her truth in a job that she's getting paid a lot to do. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
These would be just speculations. But again, if we could talk to her, we could find out. But these would be just some possibilities to explore with that dream.
She's selling a soul, but getting a monetary gain, maybe.
She wouldn't be the first person, would she?
No, that's true.
No, not at all. We had another question, or another dream that came in from, I think it was Chris or Lance, I don't know, they basically double co-signed it. Basically says he had a dream where he was at an airport waiting for his flight, and another plane was taking off with a giant killer whale, and a great white shark broke the water strong enough to attack the plane, and it crashed.
That's
wait a second. Can you say that last part again?
I know, yeah. So basically,
he's waiting for his plane.
He's waiting for his plane, and as another plane was taking off, a giant killer whale or great white shark broke through the water. I'm assuming out near the airport as the plane was taking off, and it was strong enough to attack the plane and crashed it.
So that's pretty bizarre. Leaps up out of the water and attacks the plane.
Yeah. That's what he said. That's what he sent. Yeah.
Scared of flying?
Well, again, the ideal way is to talk to the dreamer, but just speculating or doing an if it were my dream kind of take. If it were my dream, I would feel like I'm waiting for something to take off in my life. And while I'm waiting, I'm witnessing someone or something else that's also trying to take off, but it gets attacked.
Right. Yeah.
And by a shark, I think of a shark as something that's not trustworthy, like a person we would call a shark.
Oh, so somebody sort of, and maybe a negative, or a negative person in the life, or maybe somebody who might be seen as a threat or a danger, like
a threat, a danger, a sabotage.
Yeah.
And if it were my dream, I would wonder if I feel like that's going to happen to me, or if that's happened to me in the past, if there's a history in my life of me just trying to get something taking off and someone else trying to sabotage it, or if I have fears about that. That would be just kind of an if it were my dream. If you guys want to try an if it were my dream too.
If it was my dream, I'd be saying something similar, to be honest. I'd be saying, if it was my dream and I was observing, I was waiting to travel on to a destination, and I've witnessed another vehicle going up and being attacked. It could be that I was, projecting those fears of flying onto, the other passengers say, this is why you shouldn't get on a plane, in terms of that could have been you, or I don't know, maybe like you were saying there about how it's more of a threat from a competitor in the same field that you were working towards something, and they potentially were in the same field, and
Yeah, if it was my dream, I would say there may be a competitor against me. Let's say I own a shop and they own the same kind of shop, and we're moving on. The business is doing good, but we're both moving on at the same time. But then possibly he gets done by a shark.
It's almost to sort of highlight the dangers of the whatever industry or area he's looking into, or I was looking into. So potentially, like you were saying there, or we'll just use the flight for an example. You're taking off on that flight,
going up, you're raising up, you're doing well, and then all of a sudden.
Well, it seems like there's two, doesn't it? Because there's his, and then there's another one.
So he's going to witness.
It's almost like he's witnessing.
I'm witnessing.
Witnessing what could be, if you like. Yeah.
Good job, Taylor.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I'm witnessing that I'm actually...
Very, very good, you guys. This is awesome. We're having a dream group.
See. Last one.
I just want to point out that those threats in dreams, like sharks and monsters and killers, they can be things like we just kind of picked an example here. Like if this was this person's career, we're going to have to pick something just to give an if it were my dream example, right? But that threat could be, like we're saying, a competitor or somebody like that. But it can also be a non-tangible item like COVID.
Yes.
Because how many businesses have been sabotaged by COVID?
Yeah.
Or shut down.
Exactly.
So it can be fear of unseen threats like illness, financial challenges, health issues, relationship problems, you name it. Any kind of a threat in a dream can be a tangible or an intangible thing.
It's funny you should mention that, actually, because the last dream that we were sent was from Rob. He says it's basically, it's probably really obvious, but he definitely has a dream question that he basically says he's having nightmares about nuclear bombs going off quite frequently. Now, I think if that was me, I would have said that that's one of those intangible threats.
Yeah.
That it's a worry that we all have that we can't really do anything about, but it's quite, I'd say at the moment
it's a big threat at the moment.
Big threat. The world's a bit of a weird place, isn't it?
On the clock, apparently, so at the moment, and it's never been so frightening. And there's possible war with China, possible with Russia, possible in other directions as well, and we don't know. We don't know what's what's going on.
Yeah, no,
we're only just getting the little bits of info, aren't we? Really?
Yeah, and obviously it's like one of those, but it's one of those dreams that I think a lot of people probably have had similar dreams. Over the last year or so.
Yeah, I would say myself. Yeah.
So I'd say that was pretty kind. I'm no dream analyst, but I'd say to me that would be quite obvious.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily going to be that. It could, you were saying before, a relationship. It could be something in the relationship that something big's just gone off, or they could be like work or something that's you've been building on for a long time, and then all of a sudden it's just collapsed or something like that.
So it could be a case of that it's just destruction of a number of things, really, couldn't it be? So.
Yes, absolutely. And you said he's been having nightmares, so that makes me think maybe this is a recurring dream, in which case Rob could look at when did this type of dream start, how often is he having it, and the next time he has it, if it happens again, look at what was going on in the last day or a few days in his life, or what was strongly on his mind.
So I'd say that's really good advice. If you're having recurring dreams, to kind of look at what's going on in your life at the time and see if there's anything recurring there, because if there's something that's sparking off the way you're feeling and how you're, how you're thinking about things, and then obviously you're going to sleep and then it's being sparked back up again.
And possibly even test it as well. If it's something that you can, I suppose, can walk away for, let's say, a few days to see how your dreams go on, then if it's, persists, then it might not be that problem. It might be something else.
Introduce things into your day to see if you...
but try and work out, because if it might be something like to do with, let's say, a colleague, a work colleague or something, or a relationship that, step back, see how you're feeling after, a set period of time to see if that is the actual thing that's giving you them nightmares or not.
Well, no one should be having nightmares. That's one thing anyway.
And can I just say about nightmares, we think of them typically as a bad thing because they don't make us feel good. But actually, there's a lot of valuable information in them.
Totally
because they are reflecting what's going on with us, and they're processing for us. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of times things that we aren't able to or don't have time or haven't made the time to process in waking life. So they're helping to express the fears, but also, like I said, some can come to warn us so that we can change the outcome. I was going to say, too, about psychic dreams. We can't always change the outcome, but I believe they come to help prepare us or prevent.
Right.
So sometimes they help us prevent an incident from happening, and sometimes they help us to prepare for, the death of a loved one who we can't maybe stop them from passing because it's their time. And sometimes we can, change an accident from becoming fatal or something, but sometimes we can't. And so they can come to prepare us or prevent. And back to the nightmares, there's always something valuable. Now, if somebody has the same recurring nightmare and the theme does not change or evolve over time, a healthy nightmare is one, if it's recurring, the theme will change and evolve to where the outcome is better and better for the dreamer. But if it's like a soldier who's been to battle and they keep dreaming of seeing their buddy being killed over and over, and it doesn't change, that's a PTSD dream. And that's another category. Then that's not necessarily the kind of nightmare that, there's a beautiful message in here. No, we're not going to say that. This is a reflection of trauma.
Yeah, it's trauma.
Yeah, and then you want to seek help to deal with the trauma in whatever ways work for that person. So I just want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this Rob having, if his dream was recurring, again, to look at, if he said it started almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
Then I'd say when COVID started. Yeah. We would keep asking more questions like that to try to connect the dots to what it is in his waking life that a recurring dream was about. And that'll help give clues too. So
definitely. Well, thank you so much. Mimi, we've taken up so much of your time, but really we could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, honestly.
Gonna have to get on again,
well, you're more than welcome to come back on anytime. Can you give the guys and girls at home a bit of info about what you're up to and where they can find you?
Yes, absolutely. So my website is thedreamdetective.com. And I always have to say, remember the, because people forget the. But it's 3 words, thedreamdetective.com. The podcast is the Dream Detective Podcast. I do a number of episodes on dreams, but I also interview thought leaders in fields from everything from consciousness to health to spirituality, you name it. I've had like Bernie Siegel and Judith Orloff talking about empaths. That's a popular topic on the show, the empath-narcissist relationship and all kinds of things.
There's a topic.
Well, I did part of my degree final project on narcissists.
Yeah.
So, you did?
Did you pass? I bet you did.
I did, yeah.
It's a good thing to educate anyone about ourselves because there's people like that out there and we need to know how to protect ourselves from them. So there's that. And then I mentioned earlier, I have a forum on my website that people can join where we post a dream and people take turns saying, if it were my dream, here's what it would mean to me. The forum is brand new, so I will guarantee that I will comment on your dream.
Excellent.
Other members can as well. And then I have a little card deck that is basically like inspirational messages to help guide us on our path towards living our authentic life. So it's not trying to be, predict anything for you. And unless you want to use it that way, fine. That's great too. But it's beautiful vintage artwork and it just has, I'll pull a card and read it to you. Oh, well, the one I got is listen to the messages of your dreams, of course.
There you go.
Of course.
How appropriate.
All about dreams, the card deck. But I have a little Etsy shop, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook under The Dream Detective. And there's links to all my social media on my website, and there's a link to the Etsy shop. And again, in addition to dream work, I do just coaching for life purpose, life path, and communication skills, relationships, and things like that.
Excellent. Well, you seem like you're a very busy lady. If you do want to get in touch, obviously, get over to the Dream Detective website.
Definitely.
Reach out if you wanted to, like Mimi was saying there, if you have dreams yourselves and you want a bit more of an analysis.
Why not?
Get in touch. Mimi, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to us rambling on for the last hour. It's been a pleasure. And we'd love to have you on again to talk about a number of topics. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'd love to come back, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Have a lovely time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So thank you, Mimi, for joining us again. That was such a great chat.
Yeah, interesting.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
I did.
I'll give you a bit of personal insight on us.
Yeah, that's true. More than I thought, actually.
I know, you got deeply probed there. Well, we've got a little bit of news for you. Without further ado, here it is. It's a news! And as always, we've looked high and low, searched the World Wide Web for the best and most interesting and bizarre news available. Yeah. And quite a lot from space, Earth, and beyond.
Yes.
Yes. So anything that caught your eye this week?
eBay. Is it time for eBay to change their new policy that they've just brought
in? They can't, I don't think, because I think it's down to the fact that they've had a bit of a problem with the relationship with PayPal.
Yes, they have.
So they've parted ways apparently, and that means that whereas it was an instant payment. When you sold something on eBay, you could you get it straight into your PayPal account and whatnot. And now because PayPal have stepped away, or I don't know what the relationship was or why that's broken down, but it's taken that away from eBay. So now eBay have got to do this sort of 2 or 3 day waiting period, which has always been, but because the way eBay explained it to me is because then because eBay's a financial, PayPal's a financial institution.
Yeah,
they're able to go, well, we'll front that money when somebody makes a sale, they can back it, they can throw it into your account, knowing that eBay's going to pay it. Yeah. Now, maybe that's where the communications broke down. Maybe eBay's not been paying PayPal the bills. Who knows?
I reckon there might be some discussions.
No, we're not doing that anymore. You deal with your own banking, and
because there's got to be financial dysfunction along the line between the customer and the provider.
But it does inconvenience the customer, because now,
big time.
When people, and the thing is about eBay is there's a lot of people just selling stuff because they need the money, right? So, there's a lot of people out there who are just trying to clear a bit of junk out their house, that just stick stuff on eBay. They could do with the extra money, and they know it's a kind of an instant payment. But now all of a sudden,
as well.
It's a 4 or 5 day working, not weekends, but...
Yeah, there's another thing. If it ends up being on the week, a Friday that it actually goes through, then you've got to wait a full week near enough.
It's all about you trying to time it and manage your...
Yeah, you're going to have to
sales.
watch it now,
Yeah, so your listings don't end on a Friday.
Yeah, make it land on a Monday.
So, but I think the outrage is that, that now that PayPal's not involved with eBay,
it's going to take time.
It's an inconvenience more than anything. And rather than trying to implement a system that's the equivalent or better than the one that they offered, now they're offering basically a worse service.
Yeah, but they're saying it's a cheaper way of doing it.
Well, they're trying to say that that you'll get charged less fees overall and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
but it's a case of money in the bank, mate. That's it.
Well, it's either money or convenience.
Exactly, isn't it? So I think it's one of those. What do you think?
I think they've taken a step backwards. I think they need to.
And now I do believe if going forward, if they created a system that was an instant payment, it'd be a winner. I've never had a problem with them in that respect. But
I'd tell you who's going to be a winner here. Their competition. I think it's a good time for them to step up above the mark and put their money where their mouth or their company is.
Well, what it wouldn't be before long. I know Amazon. Are probably the biggest retailer on the web.
Yeah.
But how difficult would it be for Amazon to step in and say, "Well, we're going to offer an auction style site"? Do you know where you can sell?
Easy.
Where you can sell like your old bric-a-brac.
Yeah.
The stuff you would put on eBay.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's the boot sale version of Amazon.
Yeah. One man's junk is another man's riches.
I don't know. Well, I want some money off that if they ever do it, because obviously that was my idea. It's on record,
copyrighted, man,
time stamped, a lot. Anyway, so eBay aside, I found this story. I found quite amusing. Well, it wasn't amusing, but it's quite scary.
Amusing and scary.
Well, the guy, right? He was bitten in the face by a snake, right? The moment was actually captured on a doorbell cam.
This is so lucky.
And I think the guy looks a bit like Dave Chappelle. But I don't. Where's this snake come from? That it was at doorbell height.
Well, there's plenty of areas near a porch for.
It sounds to me like a fucking Bond villain or something. It's like he stumbled across a villain's lair. And that's what he's got, like instead of releasing the hounds, it's like Mr. Burns released the snakes. And he's got a snake firing doorbell.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, it's one way of knowing that someone's at the door when they're there screaming in agony.
Yeah. So basically, on Sunday in Oklahoma, a man was bitten.
Poor bastard, mate. Poor man.
Yeah, it was when he was visiting his friend's house.
Well, hopefully it weren't venomous.
I hope not. I was like, when you have to pin him down and suck out the venom off his face.
Technically, every snake is venomous. It's just it's not against.
Did you know a daddy longlegs is venomous?
Yes.
Did you know that the bite of a daddy longlegs, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's put it this way, right? It's not lethal. So in the minute dose that a daddy longlegs can deliver it, But if you were swarmed by them, you'd be fucked, right? Also, if you've happened to come across a daddy long legs that was the size of a Yorkshire Terrier,
Then run. Yeah. I definitely. I would anyway. Have you seen that one where some guy got a little dog and put like spider legs on it and run it through the streets?
I did actually see that. Actually,
that's a mint video. I think he had to stop that. Mind you, it's frightening a lot of people.
Do you know what is frightening?
What?
Yeah, right. Check this out.
Yeah.
I found this story where it's basically about a husband and wife. Right?
Oh, right. Bit strange.
And obviously, do you know when you're suspecting of cheating or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
She was suspecting her husband of cheating.
Right? Oh, right.
Now, after she discovered photos on his phone, right? Now, you know, you're all out there evidence. Going... Oh, there's cheating bastard. Right, yeah, so, but, right, well, she's ended up, so the news story is, in a rather unusual incident, a woman has stabbed her husband after she assumed that he was having an affair with another woman. My God. The confusion happened when she saw photos of him with the woman on his phone.
Oh, what?
The actually crazy bit was, it was her.
What?
When she was younger. So he had photos put on his phone, of them when they were a lot younger, slimmer, bit more attractive. Yeah. Now, she's not seen that. She's just clocked him with a woman who doesn't look like she looks now. Yeah, right? Yeah. She's not even recognised her former picture. Self. Yeah, right? And stabbed her husband, right?
Good job that it wasn't a John Wayne Bobbitt.
How do you mean?
Well, John Wayne Bobbitt had his big gentleman cut off by the wife. She drove down the road and threw it into the
Bobbitt.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Yeah. Thankfully, that didn't turn up. That. Well, imagine if she did that.
How do you mean? What, she chopped it
off?
Your
missus found a picture of herself cuddling you and decides to cut your manhood off, drive down the road and throw it away.
Well, she's basically, I mean, she came close in this incident, isn't it?
It's true.
So I think it's caused a bit of kind of a stir, to be honest. But what do you think about it, guys and girls at home? Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of an incident, isn't it? I mean, obviously...
I wonder if drugs or alcohol were involved. I mean, I suppose...
I don't even recognise myself anymore.
Well, yeah, she might have been out on a binge, that night and went right, I'm going back home, and then, your phone's gone off, let me have it. Who's that woman there? You cheating? And automatically, instantly thought, you're a cheater, I'm going to do,
So, so that's that. Have you got anything else you want to talk about? We've got a lot of NASA news as well.
Yeah,
I know he's trying to keep it, obviously it's been a long show, so, I mean, the news is good, but we've got a couple more stories, though.
Yeah.
I found this story about millionaires. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
this is really cool, actually, right? And, I mean, I say it's really cool, but they've still kind of made it dead inclusive.
Yeah.
Not inclusive, fucking... Is that the right word?
It shows how far that it's gone to me.
So basically, this is about millionaires protesting, right? I've never seen this before. No. Never happens.
Yeah.
Right. Well, millionaires are now getting on bandwagon of the protesting.
Yes.
Yeah? And reported to have been protesting outside Jeff Bezos' house, demanding that he pays more tax.
So he should.
And I think that's brilliant. Yeah. Right. It's
I think it's meant.
And it must be bad.
Yeah.
When the millionaires are fucking protesting because it's like.
They think they're getting classed as a normal citizen.
Well, exactly, right. But it's funny because there was a video not so long ago. I'm going to say Mr. Beast. I'm going to say, I'm not going to ask, do you subscribe to Mr. Beast? Because I think everybody does. 64 million subscribers or something like that.
That's mad.
And he gave away $1 million to one of his fans. And then in the next video... explained how that was going to be spent, right?
Yeah.
And a good percentage of that $1 million goes on tax, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, it's a big amount, big chunk of money, right? So, obviously millionaires are getting taxed. And if you got kind of earn $1 million a year, I think you get pissed off with that. Obviously, I get pissed off with the tax I have to pay.
Yeah. But imagine if it was a big amount of money that you had in your bank account.
Tax on $1 million,
it gets taken half every year.
But, we talk about, all these scandals and stuff, but, I think, and the biggest problem is, it's not the millionaires, it's the multi-billionaires, which don't... It's like there's a bracket where, if you're working... and then you go over a certain pay bracket, you go in a different tax code.
Yeah.
So they'll go, oh, you're doing all right for yourself. We'll tax you a little bit more now.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
And the higher you go up that, the more they tax you, right?
Yeah.
But then it seems to be a cut-off point where they haven't got the software to work out Jeff Bezos and fucking everybody else's tax. These 1%ers.
It's like a lottery number coming
and they
out.
don't, or they've got the brightest fucking accountants on it to make it so that they don't have to pay tax.
Yeah, it's all the grey areas.
Give it away in charitable organisations and all this bullshit. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's the biggest one that gets me about the charities.
Like I say, these millionaires have been protesting outside Bezos' mansion.
Good. Keep it up.
His $80 million Manhattan apartment building, I should say.
80 million for one property.
For an apartment building.
That is ridiculous, you know what I mean? That's like...
they were protesting on tax day. They rented a mobile billboard and megaphones and obviously demanded that Bezos pay his fair share of taxes.
And so he should.
Now,
like the rest of
I think obviously like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, Robin Hood tax.
Yes.
And about how, obviously if we taxed like... financial institutions for and kind of the rich, the elite rich 1%. I think there'll be a lot of problems solved in a lot of places, but
there was someone who calculated out that if every single millionaire, billionaire, and all that pay 1% into society, it would change society dramatically.
Yeah, but I mean, there'd be a lot of millionaires like your Bonos and your fucking Windows 95 guy who'd say, "Oh, well, we do that." Yeah, right. But
it gets thrown through different hoops. So when it's like the financial system. When it gets to one place, I'll take a little chunk off that to do that, and then get to another, and
administration fees,
and stuff like that. Yeah,
because I was going to say charitable donations are tax free, aren't they? So you shouldn't be paying any tax on them.
Yeah, you won't be paying any tax, but you'll be paying. In most cases, there's a little bit that has to go somewhere else.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Dues. Well, there you go. I think it's good that they're going out there, but like I say, it just goes to show how bad it is when the billionaires are out there fucking screaming about their tax.
Oh yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean? So,
but right on. Keep it going.
Yeah. Anyway, we got some NASA news and UFO news.
Yeah.
Basically, UFOs are rife at the moment.
Massively.
I mean, we should be getting a hella more downloads than we are, considering it's such a big topic.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of governments coming out and acknowledging the fact that UFOs and unidentified flying objects, USOs, and other phenomenon are happening in the skies or in the waters around the UK, America, around the world, right? And
we've been saying this for years.
Yes, we have been saying this for a very long time.
I've been doing it for at least 35 years.
35 years. He was sat there in his nappies going...
Yeah. Oh, it's proper
watching
on the
X-Files. Now, So, British military are now saying it is aware of UFO reports, especially referenced by Obama.
Oh, right,
This is a Metro story. And this is researcher Nick Pope.
Yes.
Has said the British Army should be playing full roles in US research into unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Totally. I think they are. It's just that it's not come out as much over here than it has over in the US.
The Ministry of Defence or the MOD has confirmed that it's heard of the study.
Yeah.
But it's not officially engaged or done anything with it.
And
that's stuff that's been going on over Antarctica.
Yeah.
So that's referring to like high level work and activity in Antarctica. So that's them acknowledging it, and whether they were involved or not, they've not really said.
Yeah, they ain't. I don't think they're gonna at the moment. Anyway, I'm just hoping that after this January report comes out, that a lot of the other countries come out and go, you know what? Well, all right, we've got more here that we can give out.
Well, it's funny, actually, before you said that, because they're talking about this report. The US submarines have detected a mysterious speeding craft under the water.
Ooh, yet again.
And this is just ahead of the UFO report from the Pentagon.
Yeah.
So the US Navy has basically detected an unexplained mysterious object moving at hundreds of knots under the water.
Whoa.
As the Pentagon basically getting ready to
acknowledge
UFOs.
There.
Do you think that this could be like...
I'm really hoping it's going to be the big...
the reveal?
Yeah, but
hey, do you reckon?
But I'm now starting to get information on...
Do you reckon these aliens were on their way there to the Pentagon to do a bit of champagne schmoozing with the ambassadors?
Oh, yeah, they probably got dropped
Eating
off
a Ferrero Rocher?
Oh, yeah, definitely the Rocher's got to come out, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, without a shadow of doubt. But I'm getting...
It's not an ambassador's reception without one, really, is it?
It isn't. But and don't forget the champagne as well. But I'm getting little bits of information at the minute. I've got to check out a load of things about... There's some people who are bringing good information out at the minute that might be plants. There's apparently there's documentation to state that certain individuals have been planted into certain things.
Okay. Yeah, so what? Why would they be hyping up the UFO sort of thing?
Well, you infiltrate and you put them in a direction.
Are you ready for Project Bluebeam?
Yeah. Well, this was a part of that actually that I've got to look into. That
there you
might
go.
Be
maybe this could be smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
Or some sort of well, you've always got to think about it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even though you kind of like.
Think it's out there.
Oh, right. You're giving us the information. Yeah. Well, are you?
Well, yeah, really, it's whatever they're going to give you.
It's always this kind of grey-grainy sort of footage as well, isn't it?
It's a cat and mouse game. We're chasing them.
Oh, yeah.
The documents, and they're going, no, all right, I'll give you one piece.
So they're looking into what that could be, but obviously whether that's going to be included in the report, we don't know.
Well, hopefully.
Obviously, do you watch 60 Minutes at all?
Yes, I do actually.
Sometimes do have some really good
they do.
Things
good
on,
interviews.
Interviews on.
So, the Australian one I really like, to be honest.
What was that about?
There's all different ones. It was about murderers and stuff like that, but I do like the way they...
Oh, right. The show, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this one's about a New Jersey report, which was on Sunday on CBS's News 60 Minutes episode. And they're talking about the acknowledgement of aerial phenomenon.
Yeah,
do you know what
UAPs,
I mean?
yeah.
So,
there's a lot more programs I'm finding that are coming out with their own interpretations of what's going on and what they think it is.
Well,
now
they're talking about the denial. Do you know what I mean? So how they're looking at the Pentagon and walk back through the decades of the public's about the denial to the public.
Well, this is
about
the thing.
This stuff. So I think it's quite cool. I think you should check it out. It's an episode on 60 Minutes. So
I mean, I think that's right, because I think that's been one of the main reasons, supposedly, why they haven't let anything out, because if I lie to you, you're not going to trust me again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and we've been lied to so many times, and this is it's like a 9/11. You know what I mean? It's a biggie.
Well, it's one of those. I think
it changed the world.
At the end of the day, right? It's one of those where it's like, as a government or whatever, you're flying your plane, right, and you're a pilot or a naval officer, and you see something strange. You've got to then report it, right? And then what happens with that information
gets filed away.
It gets filed away, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's classified, so the person who actually saw it isn't even allowed to say anything. Because it could be considered national security.
Yeah.
So
it gets investigated, and then they're supposed
to.
Well, they're supposed to. Well, they will. They'll investigate the ones they don't know about or what they think.
Or they'll go, oh well, we don't want to jump to conclusions and say that this is a UFO or a USO or anything.
And then all of a sudden, a fire broke out and all the documents got burnt out. I'm surprised that one hasn't come out yet. Like some big fucking, something's gone wrong, like the mold's got to it or something like that. You know what? I can see in the future that some of them will come out, that the really deep stuff that I don't even think we should know about.
So I've got one last story before we wrap up the show.
Yeah.
And it's basically Elon Musk, the Techno King.
Techno King.
Again.
Oh yeah.
He's talking about his new Tesla Roadster type thing.
Oh right, okay.
Tesla SpaceX Roadster. And he's saying it'll fly.
Oh right, will it?
Who knows? Tesla CEO Elon Musk has revealed more details about the rocket-powered version of the company Roadster sports car.
Yeah.
After the prototype arrived at the car museum in California this week. So he's saying that it's going to be all fucking roads where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah, because there's I believe there is a company in Sweden where they've got license a couple of years ago to actually be able to fly from one place to another in like these like cars.
Right.
And they're the only company
like the Jetsons.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I think more and more of that's going to be coming in. Especially if he comes in and starts, here's an electric one.
Yeah. These are going to be about 200 grand. Yeah, starting price.
Yeah.
They're going to be a bit based on the Roadster, except they're going to be starting production in 2022, priced at around 200 grand. But the price or release date is so under wraps at the moment.
I think it'd be noisy, and I also think it'd be more fans kind of used instead of like power of a kind of fuel.
Well, no, it's the thing. The Roadster's that thing that they uncovered, didn't he, in 2017? The thing that he was throwing bricks at and stuff, and going, "I can't smash my window," and then he smashed his window.
Yeah, and then blamed it on. Oh well, we've been doing it for like the last half hour.
It's weak
back there. Yeah, it's strong, honestly.
Been shooting it. So he's been it did get a lot of attention, I thought it was a bit of an ugly looking car. Yeah,
I sort of did, but you can have attachments on it, make it a spoiler on and shit.
It's a tank, mate.
Yeah, put a spoiler on it. If it goes fast and it can do its job, put a bit of boost in it.
But they're saying that the electric capacity of it is saying that you'll be able to do around 620 miles.
Nice.
Because it's electric.
Yeah, but it's all about the recharge.
Yeah, I know. I always think this. I was like that. Do as a, I'm always watching the meter. Yeah, right. As a typical man.
So really, you can only go about 300 miles.
And I mean, you're plugging in stuff like cars.
Yeah,
it's like, what are you paying to run your car or your house?
But then again, if it's
when your electric bill's now covering your fuel costs on your car as well.
Yeah, you can see it can be massive. I mean, they mess around with it now, like you don't know how much you're supposed to be paying.
Then I wondered as well, do you know when you go to these charging points?
Yeah.
Right? Can you just freely plug your car in, or do you have to pay?
Of course you have to pay.
How do they charge by the watt?
I believe so.
Crazy.
Yeah. But the thing is, it sounds cheap.
You know what?
Let's say 5p a watt.
Yeah, I know, but it's still going to be dead funny in the future when everyone's queuing up at the petrol pumps when they're not petrol pumps anymore.
Yeah,
but they're going, "Oh, have you seen the watt price today?
Yeah.
Oh, it's appalling, that watt price."
And then we're all complaining about it, and then later on it'll be like, you know what?
Got loads of it.
We could have stopped it around about this time and gone, hold on, no, we don't want any fuel for the vehicle. We want something that actually goes on its own and keeps going on its own without any other kind of...
a water wheel.
Yeah, it's because,
a water wheel powered van.
Porsche have made a synthetic fuel for...
I'm sure they could. I'm sure. We've said this. We talked about suppressed technology. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I knew you were going to say it was going to be made out of hemp because it always is.
Yeah.
Right?
And you don't know what the charges they're going to be putting on them. Like, they could go $10 a fucking...
Well, it's like chip fat or petrol. You can run your car on chip fat. You can run your car on alcohol. You can run
water.
Your car on... And, there are water powered. But we talked about suppressed technologies. But these absolute geniuses who have definitely come up with a synthetic petrol, which would be so cheap to make, and then they've gone, we'll take that.
They announced it about 10 years ago.
Put it in the vault.
Yeah, they already knew this was coming out, but it's another expense that you have to keep going back to the manufacturer and going, can I have some fuel, please? Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and then you've got to pay for that fuel, where you should have a vehicle where the fuel shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
It should automatically be there 24/7. There's the sun. More using more of that when they're sitting in the night or the day, in the car park, charging up. You know what I mean, and kind of stuff like that.
Right. Well,
I got one about Virgin's new plane because we haven't talked about.
Of course. Virgin Atlantic are actually they're we have talked about them a bit.
But they've not really been doing
anything.
Yeah,
so
it's been a bit boring, but. Actually, this week...
Typical Virgins.
Yeah, it is.
They're boring. They don't want to do anything.
Yeah, they need to come to the party, man. They need to join with...
with Beardy Branson. And, come out, Branson.
Come out, son. Get off your island. So basically, they've had a first test flight of their plane to 55 miles above the Earth. That's the furthest they've been to the upper atmosphere. And they're planning on 3 more key test flights to be able to get their 600 paid customers to go up.
People have already paid.
Yeah.
The people are booked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Booked it, packed it.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to go. We're ready for our summer holidays. But yeah, they're on their way up. So I suppose, like the rest of the countries and companies are trying to, the space race, trying to get up there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that a British company's doing...
Good, yeah, well, I like it. I mean, yeah, but it's like they keep going a bit out and going, hey, we just got a little bit further this time. You know what I mean?
What do you have to do for the licence?
No, because the problem with this, right, and I mean, I like that Richard Branson's doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Virgin Atlantic, yeah. But he's not got no object. He's not got a destination, right?
You don't think?
No, everyone else has got a destination. Yeah, they're all trying to get somewhere.
Yeah, he's trying to get someone up into space so he can, here's a nice little taxi ride.
Space, that's it. It's like, we've got a Mars mission, we've got a fucking moon mission. Yeah, Richard Branson's got he's not
around the Earth.
Going anywhere.
Look around the Earth. I want to go up to have a look around the Earth.
So he's a glorified.
I know
he's a glorified fucking. It's a glorified.
It's a taxi driver.
It's not a taxi driver. It's a tour guide.
Well, yeah.
It's like those guys who'd be like, on your left, you'll see
exactly,
the town hall.
Yeah.
It was built in 1918.
But if you're going to pay about $500,000 to get up there,
whereas I'm not being funny, right? Yeah. He's not really got much in terms of landmarks to be pointing at.
Yeah,
it's like if you look to your left, you'll see the planet Earth.
Yeah, but to be fair,
that's about it.
To be fair, this is another step of an adventure that he's known for being an adventurous man.
If you're going to be an adventurer, go out and adventure. Don't fucking just skim around the Earth and come back home.
Yeah, but you don't know what other things he could be doing. This could be just a test flight for the new massive, space shuttle that's going to be up there.
I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying it just seems a bit kind of like, everywhere, all these other companies have a bit of an objective, whereas his objective is to literally
to get there, basically,
to fly around and come, just to go to space and come home. That's basically it.
I think to be honest, his objective is
Don't you argue with me?
The license to get up there.
Yeah. What do you mean, the license?
Well, you need a license through NOAA, I think it is.
Who's NOAA?
NOAA's
because I said this before,
yeah.
right? I said if I built a spaceship and flew out of the orbit and just went for a space ride, and Taylor goes, you'd get shot down. And I was like, well, why? He goes, you need a license.
It's our airspace.
It's space.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to have the fuzz come and run me up and give me a ticket.
Yeah,
a producer and say, fucking, I need, what have you got license?
Well, you don't know. Why are you planning on sitting on the fucker when it goes up?
No,
especially the first one.
I mean,
yeah, I'm with you on this. I don't think they should have the right to tell you if you could leave this planet or not at the end of the day.
Yeah, if I wanted to leave this planet and I had the capabilities to do it, then who could tell me I wasn't allowed? Yeah, but apparently, Taylor's saying that I'd be in big trouble.
Yeah. So you're not allowed to. You have to go. Hold on. I think there's about 5 companies who've had the access up to now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and it's like, well, actually, you have no right to stop me from. But then again, then as soon as it leaves orbit,
I'm going. So
but then we have no right to turn around and stop them from shooting me.
All right.
You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Because they just go, well, I'll just shoot you halfway there. You know what I mean? Or there's an accident.
No, because they're supposed to fire a warning shot across your bow. Yeah,
well,
right.
Yeah, but they were off by a little bit.
I've seen Star Trek and Star Wars. They fire a warning shot and then open comms. And then
someone pressed the front of torpedoes.
Well,
he pressed it by accident.
What, like fucking hit?
I nudged that little button. I knew I shouldn't have pressed that red button. Yeah,
quick fire.
Well, you know how it is, don't you? When you're in a cockpit and you see that big red button saying "Do not push." Like that. I don't know. What would happen if I press that?
Fuck it. I know. Yeah.
Bush.
Well, that's why I always thought about Bush. Anyway,
well, yeah,
and Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know about
Time's
Trump.
ticking, and we've got to listen. Now. We've got to go. This is it.
That is That is our beautiful...
I can tell he's getting on one, and the show could be
overtime,
another 5 hours long. Well, get in touch if you've had any questions or you've got anything you want to talk about, any
tell us off or
suggestions.
Give us praise. Even though we do get praise.
We don't deserve it.
We don't.
You can get in touch with us at neverstraightanswerit@gmail.com. You can email us at over on the website. There's a section there where you can send us a contact form there.
Yes.
There's plenty of downloadable content and other bits and pieces on the website too. Merch. Videos, it's all good. And blogs and news. So it's loads.
Don't
worth going over.
Subscribe.
Oh, sorry, you got a bit of a back twinge then.
Oh, you need to exercise.
We're on social media. On Twitter at NASA_Never and Instagram at Never Straight Answer. We're available on all podcast platforms on YouTube and Spotify, iTunes,
everywhere,
iHeartRadio, everywhere you get your podcast fix. We're there. If there's anything I've missed, please vote for us.
Yes,
in the Quiet Thing Media Awards.
We'd love a trophy up on our.
I don't know. Would they give us a trophy?
I don't know, but
I'd like a trophy.
I'd like it for the viewers.
Like
that
what?
It shows that.
Oh yeah, if it was viewers listening to them who voted for us, then that's nice. Yeah, defo. So so
we only
go
do
vote
this
for
really
us.
for the viewers. So it's all down to them.
We do it for fun, man. We
do
that. We don't get paid.
No.
Do you know what I mean? No. We do it for the thrill of the chase, and because we like chatting.
We like humanity, and we want to give them a chance and give you information.
Anyway, we're rambling. Right.
We are.
That's the end of the show. Thank you, Mimi, for joining us.
Yes,
thank you
very
to
much.
all our Patreons who help us out.
Yeah.
Remember, we do have offers on Patreon at the moment where you get free sticker on sign up. And we're actually going to be doing some video blog type things on there as well. If you want a bit of a personal insight into me and Taylor's things, daily life.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'll be starting up soon, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Well, that's the end of the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
This has been the Never a Straight Answer podcast. We'll catch you next time.
We will.
Peace.
Out.